if you want.
Sure.
All right, so the first one. So, okay, so it says, why does an all-loving God command so much violence? All right, so first off, God can show violence. He's not. So I would say all-loving in the sense to those that deserve love, but he has hate towards the ones that need hate. So he does violence as well, too.
So wouldn't that be contradictory to an all-loving God to have hate? Because he's all loving.
I don't believe he's all loving. I believe he can show love and hate.
Okay, so you're not a Christian that believes that God's all loving.
I'm a Christian, but I don't believe that he only shows love. I believe that he displays hate as well.
Okay, because most Christians would say that God is all good and all loving. Like, what about you, servant of Christ? Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah. What are you? Do you think God is all loving?
To me, why evil stuff happens is because if you go back in Genesis and you look on how Adam and Eve fell, I mean,
wait, how old are you? How old are you? Oh, he left. Yeah, I asked him if God was all loving, and he started talking about why evil exists. He didn't answer the question, but yeah, I mean, if you don't think God is all loving, then I guess that question wouldn't really be for you. But you can go on.
I just wanted to go down the list of questions, and then proof that Jesus is a God. He's not. He's a son of God.
Okay, so you're not a follower of Christ.
I'm a follower of Christ. I just don't believe that he's God.
You don't worship Christ.
I worship his God, the God that he worships.
So you don't follow God, you follow Christ, and you worship God.
Correct. I follow Christ because he follows the same God that I follow.
Okay. So you're like, so already off the bat, you're not like the typical Christian, that's interesting, because most Christians would say, yeah, Jesus is God, he's the Son of God, and and that God is all loving. But what about you, Super Sang? Are you a Christian?
No, I'm an atheist.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's get another person up.
Let's go down to the next question.
Sure.
Do you have free will if God's foreknowledge is perfect? I do believe that we have free will. Now, I don't believe that the future is written out and God is reading off a script. So he doesn't know the future, but he does have a clue on
wow.
Basically on watching your life and how you live.
So you're a Christian that believes that God is not all knowing, he's not all good, and that Jesus, your Lord and Savior, is not God.
Correct. I do believe if God is all knowing, then you have no free will.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Okay. And then the next one, why doesn't God destroy the devil? Now, the devil...
Because we send ourselves to hell. That's why.
No tiene suficiente fe para decir sí.
You said...
Wait, who was that? Who said that?
We got to the question of why don't the God just destroy the devil, and somebody said that it'll be sending us to hell. Can you explain that?
No, we send ourselves to hell by the choices we make. God and Satan don't do that. You guys do that yourselves.
You're either in the book of life or you're not, though.
So why doesn't God just destroy the devil though? If the devil is like the cause.
Evil.
Because that's why he's separated from him. It's like a barrier. He separates Satan from him and kicked him out of heaven because of his pride. But he doesn't destroy him. He did have him in chains for 10,000 years, so he can't cause any bad. So he couldn't cause anything on the nations, and then he was freed. But it's also because he doesn't make a difference. We send ourselves to hell, not God or the devil. What?
So are you saying that God can't destroy the devil?
Give me her info.
But yeah,
Who is
basically.
that? So if God can't destroy the devil, then he's not all powerful.
Wait, what?
If God can't destroy the devil, then he's not all powerful.
The devil's going to be gone when he destroys the world.
And if it's us sending ourselves to heaven and hell,
yeah, you guys make the choice whether you want to live with God or live separate from God.
Belief
and a lot of you are choosing to live separate.
To get into heaven.
You're choosing
Bro, let
to
me-
live separate from God, so you guys are sending
Bro,
yourselves.
God gave us free will. He's not going to destroy the devil because the devil was once his son. He's not going to destroy his child. That's why just like he said, bro, he separated a barrier. And then he gave us free will. He gave y'all a choice to pick where y'all want to go. Like, it's common sense, bro. Y'all just make it hard when it's not.
So God prefers the devil to like have free
He doesn't
reign over-
prefer anything. I'm just saying, if we sit here and say, oh, he'll destroy the devil, that's just like us saying, oh, he'll destroy any of his children. The devil was once his child, so we're not going to say that.
Yeah, and Satan, like, let's
And
say
bro
Satan,
said that he's going to make them. He's not going to make them. He's not destroying the devil. He's just going to send them back down
yeah,
to the depths of hell. That's what he's going to do.
Satan has a part to play in it. Like, let's say if he lies to you guys, but if you guys make the choice to believe in his lie, then that's not his fault. That's your fault, because he may lie to you guys, but he doesn't control your minds. You have minds of your own. He doesn't control your minds. Neither does
The
God.
devil doesn't get power to sit there and just control people how people sit there and say he do. They get manipulated and deceived into it by their emotion. That's why people be so quick to sit here and say, oh, the devil's doing this. No, you're doing that yourself. And then people ask, oh, why don't God just help you and do this? Well, he gave us free will. So we have a choice to pick if we want to follow Jesus or follow what we think. That's what most people do, is follow what they think. So
who caused Eve to eat from the fruit? To eat from the
God.
tree?
the devil.
Right. And so that when Eve did that, that doomed all of us, right?
Yeah,
So,
it brought sin into the world.
yeah. So
Eve-
why didn't God just destroy the devil before that even happened?
He did.
Because we have free will.
Heaven.
Exactly. The devil didn't make Eve do it. He manipulated her into do it. He didn't say, "Oh yeah."
now all of
He
us
didn't.
pay the
He
price
didn't
for her
force Eve to eat the apple. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
he's not
but God
forcing-
could,
the
like-
devil can't force nobody.
Right. But like God could have just not let that happen at all. God could have
still-
just.
That's part of God's plan.
He still forgave them after.
Well, if it's
kicking them
part
out
of God's plan,
Okay,
then,
pause. Y'all
Adam-
saying God's plan and shit. Was the Holocaust part of God's plan too?
No,
What do you
that was
mean?
part-
Nothing. Well, why would it be a part of God? That doesn't even make sense. Like, that's exactly what I
Y'all
be
over here
saying
that it
about.
was God's plan.
I never
for
said.
Adam
I
to
didn't
eat-
say it was God's
eat
plan.
the apple,
Anything.
so-
I said He gave y'all
Okay,
free
then I
will.
wasn't talking
Free
to you,
will.
but somebody in
Free
the
will
live
is a
did
thing.
Part of God's
say-
That's the whole point of free will. What are you talking about? That's what you're missing. Everything that we're saying and just coming on here to say what you want, bro. You gonna say something, then listen.
You're wrong.
Don't
I'm
mean
listening
like
to every word.
you ain't listening, bro. Or you would have heard us talk about free will,
All powerful, then he wouldn't put his subjects in a situation.
bro. He gave us free will.
No,
It's not a
people-
controlling
no
God.
free
It's
will.
not, or God.
Man
God's
put
not a
them in that
controlling God. He gave
situation,
us
not
free
God.
will.
but wait,
There is no
wait,
free will.
He lets you make your own choices. He's not a controlling God. He gives you
Yeah.
free will.
how can you have free will if God's foreknowledge is perfect?
Hitler.
That's
Hitler
what
made
I'm
the
trying to
What do you
say.
mean?
Y'all just can't
May I speak?
What is he?
May I say something?
Hitler made the choice to be evil.
Wait, we got too many
Y'all
people.
are like trying to contradict something that shouldn't be getting contradict. Like,
We
I
got
don't
too
get
many
it.
people talk at the same time. Like Love. I guess I would call you Love.
Oh yeah, and D Wade.
you say your name?
Like, my fault. I'm wrong. I don't really know like everything back to back. The devil wasn't the serpent. It was the serpent that manipulated her into eating it. It wasn't the devil. So yeah, that's why the devil didn't get destroyed or whatever you ask. D Wade just told you in the comments.
Right, but like if God's foreknowledge is perfect, can God ever be wrong about what he knows is going to happen?
Of course he can.
God can be wrong?
God cannot be
Yes.
wrong. God actually knows everything that's going to happen before
Right.
it happens.
Right, so if
Exactly.
God knows you're going to turn left, can you freely choose to turn right?
Yes, you can.
So you can make God wrong about what he knows?
Yes.
So
Okay.
God can be
just
wrong.
you.
How can a
No,
perfect
you,
God be
you
wrong?
can make yourself wrong. You just said that yourself. If you're going left and you choose to go right, that's your choice. It's not God's. What
Right,
do you
but
mean?
God,
He
but
still knew that was going to happen.
but this all-knowing.
assuming
Hold on,
it's
hold on,
free
hold
will.
on, hold on. This
Can I
all-knowing. Hold on. This all-knowing, perfect God knows
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to turn left, which means you will turn left. You have to turn left. If you turned right, this all-perfect, all-knowing God would be wrong.
No, it's just
Can I
it
say
don't insulate
something?
it.
Let's
I don't know
elaborate.
what you
Explain
mean by that.
What choices you're going to make, though. So let's say
Explain how you can.
Look, this is what free will means. It means that you willingly get to do whatever you want. You make your own choices. Nobody's telling you what to do. God can't just sit there and be like, oh, well, yeah, I want you to sit here and read the Bible for a whole day. He's not going to do that. He gives you a free will. If you want to go open up your Bible, then you will.
So explain to me.
But you don't go open up your Bible because you don't want to open the Bible. You don't read it because you don't want to read it. You don't believe it because you don't.
Wait. So explain how you can choose the opposite of God's perfect knowledge.
If God is perfect,
the devil manipulates it. If you go read in the Bible about the devil, it tells you everything you need to know. How
can you choose
deceptions?
Can you choose the opposite of God's perfect knowledge? Yes or no?
Yes.
So then God's knowledge isn't perfect. Well, then God's knowledge isn't perfect.
No, it is.
How isn't his knowledge perfect?
This year,
you have failed to explain how you can freely choose.
You're not really saying that. You're just like every time we say something, you're just throwing another question at us, and that's not making sense. It's like you're trying to
haven't demonstrated.
They can't be contradict.
Follow God. You guys make the choice not to follow God.
You haven't demonstrated how you can choose the opposite of God's knowledge without making him wrong.
All right, so look. When the devil even got cat, when the devil
in God's perfect knowledge,
hold on. We got too many people up in here. I'm gonna change it to less guests because this is just too many people talking at the same time. I'm gonna start over, guys. Just hold on a second.
Make sure I'm in this beat.
I'm gonna how do you change this to? There's just too many people. We got to change it to like 5 or something. But then you can't see the. Oh yeah, you can. You can see it. Okay. All right, I'm gonna bring some people back up here.
Well,
I'm gonna try to keep it balanced. So,
okay.
Super Saiyan, you said you were an atheist, right?
Yeah, I'm an atheist.
And
I'm a Christian.
Beautiful.
Up here.
All right, Beautiful's a Christian.
Yes.
So let's try to get. I think Shade's. I think Shade was a Christian too. Shade, are you Christian?
Wait, can you put Love Sick back on? Cause I was real life trying to talk to him.
Wait, are you a Christian, Shade?
I'm actually neither.
You're like agnostic, I guess, or.
Nope. I believe in a.
All right, I'm just looking to speak with Christians or atheists.
Okay. Well, I'm since I'm on here, can I answer a few questions? Or you want to get more on here first?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Okay. I don't see Love in the guest request, guys. If you want to tell Love to come back up, he's not in the guest request.
So I just wanted to piggyback off of what Love was saying. And first I wanted to come on here and say that I am not here to convince anyone. I do believe that we all have the choice to either accept what we're saying or not. And just to get a little bit more into free will, first of all, God, he's perfect. And humans, we are imperfect, which means that as humans, we all make mistakes. That's one thing. And secondly, again, God, he can still get the good out of even all of the negative things. So I heard someone on here saying something about the Holocaust and things that have happened. So from the beginning, if you do go back into what Adam and Eve had done.
So wait, which topic are you referring to specifically?
When you were talking about God's perfect knowledge.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The previous conversation. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be all over the place.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. So God, for one, I don't know who was on there, but for one, God does have perfect knowledge, and he does know that everyone is not going to be saved. He would like the hearts of everybody, but it's not going to happen. So unfortunately, there are events that have taken place, and there are bad things that are happening currently because of the sin that's in the world. And because of our imperfections, we don't have the power to go like, hey, we can just stop everything and there can just be world peace. Like, we don't have that control.
Okay. So you believe that you have free will, even though God's foreknowledge is perfect?
So I think how I would word that is his foreknowledge is perfect. And like I just said, he does know that everybody's not going to follow his way.
Do you have free will if God's foreknowledge is perfect?
Yes, we do.
Okay. If God's knowledge is perfect and he knows everything that's going to happen and he's perfect, he can never be wrong, right?
Right.
So if God knows at this very moment that you're going to turn left, can you freely choose to turn right?
Well, with the free choice, he says I can go left or right, and I choose to go left. He knew in the beginning that I was going to go left, but the free will part that we're talking about is God, first of all, God, he has set the foundation. He knows who's going to do what and who's not going to do that.
Ma'am, can you freely choose to turn right?
Yes, I'm explaining.
So God could be wrong about what he knows.
No, he is not wrong.
Okay, so if God's not wrong about what he knows, and in this scenario, he knows you're going to turn left, you will turn left. You have to turn left.
You will turn left.
Okay, so where's the free will there?
The free will is I chose to turn left or right. He already knows what's going to happen, but even in his foreknowledge, he knows whether we're going to go left or right, but we have the option of going left or right, but he knows which direction.
Can you choose the opposite of God's knowledge and make him wrong?
You're not going to choose the opposite of God's knowledge.
Why not? Why not? Why not? Well, don't you have free will?
Why? You want to know why?
Don't you have free will? Why can't you choose?
You want to know why?
Because you don't have free will.
God is in control of everything.
Okay, if God's in control of everything, then you definitely don't have free will.
You do have free will. Are you a Christian? Wait, let me ask you a question. Are you a Christian?
The death of African Americans, the death of everybody, if anything.
What's the host's name? I don't know your name, but Skits and Bits.
Yeah, you can call me Skits.
Okay, I'm sorry. Are you a Christian?
No.
Okay, so does that mean that you have to no? So you're not a Christian, which means that God is giving you the free will to either be a Christian or not to be a Christian. Because if he was in control, if he controlled you and he said,
but what if God knows
you have to be a Christian, you would be one right now. So that's free will, for example.
If God knows I'm not going to be a Christian, can I choose to be a Christian?
That your question isn't making any sense to me.
It makes perfect sense. You just refuse to answer it because you know it debunks your free will if God's knowledge is perfect.
Well, it doesn't debunk it because what you're trying to say is...
Okay, answer the question. If God knows I'm not going to be a Christian.
You know what? I'm going to answer your question.
Can I be a Christian?
If God knows from the beginning that you were born into a road of sin...
Ma'am,
I'm answering your
scenario,
question. I'm answering your question. You have to allow me to do that.
The question was...
I know what your question is. I'm trying...
The question was, if God knows I'm not going to be a Christian, can I choose to be a Christian? Please answer that directly.
Yes, you can.
Oh, so God could be wrong about what he knows.
No, God is not wrong about what he knows.
Okay, slow down.
So, do you just admit that this nigga isn't as perfect as y'all say?
Well, first of all, God is not a nigga. We're going to be respectful.
Apologies. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Look, beautiful.
Yeah.
Disrespectful as fuck.
I'm listening.
Beautiful. If God's knowledge is perfect and God knows that I'm not going to be a Christian, how can I possibly be a Christian if God knows I'm not going to be one?
So, God knows. I'm going to explain everything, okay? I just need you to listen. In this moment right here, you are not a Christian, and you decide to allow Jesus to save you, and you decide to go right, and you're saying, is God going to allow that? Of course he would. He wouldn't deny you of becoming saved. He wouldn't.
Where's the free will there? Can I choose to be a Christian if God knows I'm not going to?
If God knows you're not going to be a Christian, then no, you can't choose that. I don't know how to necessarily answer your question, but
why can't I choose it?
Take out a Bible, KJV version.
Beautiful. Why
explain
can't I choose it? Why can't I choose it? I have free will, right? Why can I not choose it? You know why I can't choose it? Because you don't have free will if God's knowledge is perfect.
Okay. You know what? So this is what I'm going to do.
Hello?
I'm going to agree with you in this one, okay? I'm going to let you think that you don't have free will.
I don't want you to agree.
If you were meant to go to hell, then we're going to say that you were meant to go to hell. If you were meant to be saved, then you're going to be saved.
Wait, you got to echo.
I'm sorry.
Look, I don't want you to agree. I want you to think logically. And, I think it's somebody else.
Oh, yeah, no,
Is it me?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, don't just agree just because you want to. Like, actually think about...
I'm debating it, but the thing is, I'm not here to convince you, and I think that you're convinced of yourself that
I'm just using
we don't
logic.
have free will.
I'm just using logic.
No, and I you know what? I understand your logic, and I understand mine. I think that, again, in debates, it's not meant to agree or disagree. We can agree to disagree. I'm just here to just simply give the knowledge that I know, and the way that I understand free will is we have a choice to allow God to come into our hearts.
Not if God's all knowing.
Salvation, huh?
Not if if your God is all knowing, then you don't have free will.
Hey, could I ask a beautiful question?
If that's what you believe, I'm not here to convince you.
That's what the logic says. That's what the logic says.
Okay, and I go based upon what my Bible says, but I'm not here to disrespect you, and I'm not here to disagree with you. I'm here to listen to your perspective. I'm very open with perspectives.
You go by what the Bible says?
I do.
So are you gonna
New Testament, sweetheart?
Oh, what is
I'm
Jesus?
not no
what
Hebrew
is
Israelite or nothing. I go based upon New Testament.
what does Jesus say about the Old Testament writings? Does he say they should be obeyed?
Well, first of all, Jesus came so that we don't have to do all of like the sacrificial stuff that they did in the Old Testament.
Does
All
Jesus
we
say
have
that
to
the
do-
Old Testament writings should be obeyed or not?
He doesn't say that it shouldn't be obeyed.
He says they should be obeyed if you want to be the most important person in heaven. And
He said that he came for it to be fulfilled. So of course,
he said
yes,
not
you
one
Yeah,
bit.
we're supposed to follow the commandments and all of those things.
Right. So you said you go by the Bible. So
Yeah.
would you stone your children to death for not worshiping God?
Excuse me, I go by the New Testament, sweetheart.
But Jesus says the Old Testament
But
should be followed.
Jesus is the way and the truth. All we have to do is accept into our heart. The only way to heaven is through Jesus.
Jesus
The
says
Bible
the Old
talks about
Testament should be
The only way
followed.
to heaven is through a God's Son who is Jesus. So as long as we accept Him and know that we are in need of a Savior
Preach
and
mode.
we're able to admit
Preach
that we're
mode.
sinners.
Preach mode. Preach
Yeah.
mode.
Yes, I'm
Jesus
going to
Jesus
preach
says the
mode
Old
because
Testament.
The Lord tells
Jesus
us that
says
we should minister, and right now in this moment, you could accept Him as your Savior.
Can
And
I
you choose not
interject?
to, it's fine. But this was a great debate. I'm going to pray for you.
What does Jesus
I hope
say about
that
the-
one day
does
you
Jesus
can turn
say-
from your sins and turn to Him,
All right.
because He's the only way.
Preach mode. What does Jesus say about the Old Testament writings? Jesus says that not one bit of the old law will go away until the heaven and the earth are gone. Is the earth
that
gone?
passed away. Right.
No, it is
No,
not.
it's
The
still
earth,
here. Right.
the earth is still here. And Jesus says that every person should obey the command in the old law. And if you don't follow the old law, you will be the least important person in heaven.
But this is the thing. This is what you have to understand about Christianity. Not a lot of people are and dive in deep is people that don't believe in Christ. They don't study how you study because you're looking for
not my
logical
problem.
things. I know it's not your problem, but the thing about it is, do how we grew up and the people that lead us in teachings. Like for my sister that was trying to talk to you, she was trying to show love, but seeing that you have an objection, she does not know how to be able to answer the questions. But even though she's right and you're right, the thing about it is you want a logical answer. You want a true and clear answer.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now she's the thing about it is,
excuse me for being logical or wanting logic.
but that's the thing. We are humans, and we always want logical answers for anything that
Not
we
her.
do. Right.
Not her. She
But
said I don't.
no,
She said I
no,
don't
no.
go by logic. She said I go by the Bible.
But the thing about it is, she does go by logic. But at the
No,
end of
she
the
doesn't.
day, that's the thing. Let me answer. I'm not here to, like she said, I'm here to go against what you're saying, but I'm just here to help you understand what we as people that believe. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay,
Demi,
so let me
Demi,
help.
I tried to bring you up, Demi, but it wasn't connecting.
The thing about it is, let's go back to the original argument and then we can get back to the logic. The original argument that y'all were having was, if God is all knowing, why is it that I can't be a believer? Was that the original argument that you was having?
The argument
can you
is
elaborate on it?
the argument is how can you have free will if God's foreknowledge is perfect?
So this is the thing. What she's trying to say is there are all the answers that you need is there, but this is what I always explain to people that I talk to. It comes with, just like anything else, it comes with a price. It comes with
how can you have free will if God's knowledge is perfect?
Oh, well, just wait 1 second. In order for him to reveal,
I'd just like you to
knowledge-
answer that directly, please.
Okay, I'm gonna answer directly to you. And I'm not gonna go to anything. I'm not giving you parables. I'm gonna be very direct with you because I see that you want it. So just think, in order for you to be able to get that answer, you have to first let go of the knowledge that you already know. And you have to let
Please
go.
don't tell me what I have to do, and just please answer the question. How do you have free will if God's knowledge is perfect?
Once again, I just answered it for you. I'm not.
No,
telling
you just told me
gotta
what
do.
I have to do. You just said that
No.
I have to do something. I'm asking you a question. How do you have free will if God's knowledge is perfect?
If his knowledge is perfect, I'm going by scripture. In order for you to be able
Scripture
to
doesn't
receive-
mention free will.
Okay, let's remove scripture.
Scripture doesn't mention free will at all.
It does not. You say it doesn't.
There's not a single
Talk
verse in the
about-
Bible where God tells you have free will.
or hell. It doesn't. The Bible doesn't mention hell either.
As a matter of fact, it says the exact opposite. There's multiple different verses in the Bible that talks about predestination. Would you like me to show them to you?
You can do that. all of y'all can do that. I'm not overwhelmed by this. I'm trying to answer everybody's question and talk. But
can I ask a question real quick? So, for all the people that's Christian in here that believe in Christianity and believe in the Bible.
Wait, Darian, if you're not speaking, brother, could you please mute if you're not speaking? Because you got an echo. Or if you want to try to drop down, if you want to drop down, I'll bring you back up. So maybe that'll fix it.
Yeah, because I really want to speak on everything that y'all saying, because you know what I'm saying? I really want to speak on what y'all saying. I'm not offended at the least or anything, but I feel like I can answer y'all questions if I just have time.
Solo had a question. I don't know where the echo is coming from. But.
Okay. I don't know if it's me, but yeah. So my question is, when we talk about the devil in the Bible what Christians claim is the devil was basically banished here to earth, and he was the master of deception. So how do you not know that you're being deceived right now and you're worshiping the devil instead of the real God?
Because can I answer the question, or are you talking to the host directly?
No. That was for anybody.
I just feel like I'm not being deceived because, as y'all said, with y'all free will, I have free will. I know what I'm going to do. I know how I feel. I know everything like that. I would know if I was getting deceived.
How could you possibly know you're being deceived if Satan is like the master of deceivers? Like, how could you possibly know?
So, Skits, may I ask Super and Darian a very specific question?
Yes.
So, you say you have free will, correct?
Yeah.
Do you know what Ephesians 1:11 says?
No.
Alright, so it's up here. It says, "In him also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestined according to the purpose of him who works in all things according to the counsel of his will." And it also says in other verses, such as, I think it was Romans, that it talks about how he will have mercy on who he has mercy upon, and that it is not one's own will, and that one does not have will, but it is within God's power of whom he shall obtain mercy upon. So, as a matter of fact, God tells you outright, you have no free will at all. He is in complete control of everything that you do and what everybody else is doing. So don't sit and say that God gave you free will.
I shouldn't be condemned for not believing in him if it's his will that, well, according to your words, if it's his will that's living in me or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. It makes no sense.
So you're not listening. Again, you're not listening to what I'm saying.
I just heard every word you said.
He is saying to you that you do not have free will. He has predestined you since day one. He has known everything that you are going to do.
So it was God's plan to make me an atheist, but he asked people to follow him.
No, I think small potato. Small potato thought. I think she thought you were a Christian.
No, I'm an atheist.
It's facts. It's facts of what you're saying, and it does say yes, you are predestined. That's why the scriptures say that he foreknew you. You know, the hairs on your head or whatever the case may be.
Then you don't have free will, dude.
But the thing about it is
that's God's grace.
But this is the thing. This is the thing of what I'm saying. When you are born into sin in this world, do you know all of this as you grow up? I'm gonna ask y'all a question before I keep going. Do you know everything that you know right now?
Do I know
everything? You know everything that you know right now? Do you everything that as you're growing up from?
I don't think you can say for 100% certain that you know anything.
No, answer like let's just like you said.
Like I don't know. I don't know that I'm actually like a real person. I can't like empirically prove that I'm a real person or not. For all I know, I could be in a simulation. Like,
So
how do you I don't think you can possibly know for sure anything.
Here's a better way of saying that. You cannot know what you don't know. That's a better thing to say, is that you don't know what you don't know. You know what you know. But you can't know everything.
But you don't truly know it.
Yeah, that's another thing. You don't truly know. You know, but you don't truly know everything.
That's like an epistemological discussion. But
yeah, and it's also a logical fallacy. You can't know everything. You don't know what you don't know either. You don't even know that.
But sometimes there's evidence to prove things. Like, none of us know that the sun is hot. Nobody's ever touching the sun, but there's evidence showing UV waves, evidence.
We could have justified. Yeah, you could have justified beliefs, and that would
that's why I have agree. My fault. And that's why I have such a hard time to follow Christianity, because there's no type of evidence, no type of proof at all of his existence. It's just, oh, you need to believe in me.
No, I'm not going to say that I know everything, but I just know I'm talking from my experiences. So the thing about it is, not a lot of Christians have experience. They only go by what they're taught, which is what y'all trying to prove. Am I correct?
Can you say that one more time?
But your personal experience is like the weakest evidence of the existence
anecdotal.
of your God.
But at the end of the day, I'm gonna just say it again. Due to the fact of how we are raised up, due to the fact that we have people that were born into Christianity and was teaching us as children and raising us up in Christianity. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, and some people were raised up in Greece, believing certain Greek mythology. Some people were born in Scotland, knowing Celtic mythology, and then some people were born in other places like the UK or the USA and were taught Christian mythology. So either way you look at it, it's a mythology either way. You can't prove that these things exist. We have never been able to prove that they exist. Can we prove that they don't exist? No, because then you're trying to prove a negative. You can't prove that something doesn't exist. It's a logical fallacy as well. What we can do is say, look, listen, this is impossible because of such and such A, B, and C. So, for example, you cannot tell me that somebody, rose from unalivement. It's never happened before. We've never had it recorded, ever. You cannot also say that there was a world flood because there's no evidence of it.
There is evidence. You just have to search for it.
Where? Where is the evidence?
There's
evidence of searching. Can you give us the evidence?
Creation is evidence. Creation right
Look
there.
Look at the trees. Okay, so how do you know? Hold on, Nana, hold on. So how do you know that it's not Zeus making lightning?
Because it's not.
Okay, so how do you know?
That isn't a valid response to the question.
Zeus is not God. He's not almighty. He's just...
Okay, God is not God.
How is
God doesn't exist.
How does God not exist?
How does Zeus not exist?
Zeus is just a person. That's
okay,
a person.
God is just a person.
God is a being.
God is just something somebody made up.
How is that somebody... Okay, so then how do you think you were created?
How do you think you were created?
God himself. I'm asking you a question.
Okay, I think I was created by I think I was created by Athena, honestly, because I'm freaking beautiful.
Okay.
Tell him, girl. I think I was created.
I am delicious.
Nana, you're laughing, but she's using the exact standard of evidence that you're using.
No, I'm asking her like a real deal question. Like, who do you think is your creator? Who do you think?
Athena created me because I am beautiful.
And who was Athena? Where does she stem from? Like, where?
She was the god of beauty, and she was the god of war, passion, love.
Okay, and where's the evidence that she existed?
There were statues of her.
God exists.
There were statues of her.
And I just
It's
told you,
written.
creation in itself, everything in this
There's
world.
statues of her. There's beauty in everything.
So there is statues and records of
Okay,
Athena
okay. So then,
and the
how do you
Greek
think the world
gods.
was? How do you think the world was created then? Super Saiyan.
Big Bang.
And the
That's
Big Bang
how I
theory does not
personally
make
think the world was
sense.
created.
You
And
can't
the
get-
God does, and God do.
You can, yes, it does. You can't
No,
get nothing
it
out of
doesn't.
something. Something can't just explode.
That's not Nana. That's not what the Big Bang
And
is.
you can't have
Okay,
all
so then what's the Big
and you
Bang?
can't have
The Big Bang-
all power
the-
if you cannot control all your subjects.
The Big Bang is just the
We're
expansion of the universe.
disproving everything that we're saying to each other.
No scientists, no, like anybody who, no one believes that something came from nothing. If anything, you believe something came from nothing.
Oh, absolutely not.
What did God make? What did God make the universe out of?
The heavens and God made the world out of His words. He spoke, and the world came to be. He is God. He's the creator.
Okay, wait. I have a question.
So God just.
Wait a minute.
So God literally just poofed. That's something from
that's the
nothing.
thing. Yes. So the thing about it is, with that, let's go off of that. It takes. You said that I can't tell you anything. I'm not trying to tell you anything. I'm just saying what you can do and try. Basically, it's up to you to try. Like, for instance. Okay, you tell somebody that, oh, you can use this and you can use this as a drug and you'll get this type of high. It's up to you to try it, right? And then I know this is a messed up analogy, but let's just use the analogy just for the don't use y'all wits or anything. But let's just go with this. If somebody tell you that this drug is gonna give you the greatest experience for this rage, and somebody is telling you that, you have the free will to do what? Either try or not try, right? Let me just ask the question.
I think this is
have the
off
free?
topic, because
No,
we
no,
are-
it's perfectly
Let
on
him
topic.
ask you.
But I just want you to, just like you want us to answer the question, answer the question.
What was the question?
The question is,
Because I thought we already debunked free will.
but no, the thing about it is, we got to get to this point. The thing about it is, if you don't know anything, or if you're going to get something, there is your free will. Your free will is to choose.
You don't have free will if God's all knowing.
You have the free will to choose.
Let him respond. Let him ask his question. I feel like that's kind of rude that we ask ours and we don't give them a chance to
I
ask.
honestly don't know what he's asking.
But I'm gonna get into what I'm
He's
asking.
trying to, like, explain
I'm
it
trying to
now.
explain. I know I'm an elongated talker. I'm sorry. I'm not as smart as y'all. I'm sorry. But the thing about it is, I have my own understanding. So this is the thing. I'm explaining free will basically of how we believe it to be, and a lot of people don't know how to explain it. We get frustrated. So anyway, let's get back to it. If somebody give you a drug and say, "Oh, this is Molly," you'll have the greatest experience in this rave. If you take this,
Bro, you can't mention drugs on the live. Sorry, but I should have said that. Please, guys,
Okay,
don't
wait.
mention any drugs on the
Let
live.
me say something. Let me say something really quick. We do have free will. The thing is, okay, God has our destinies predestined. It is your choice to get to know God and to follow. Get to know God and then find out what your destiny is to follow that. If you think about it, so then why do you think there's violence in this world? People choose to do that stuff.
No. Did God give you free will, or did the devil give you free will?
God gave me free will.
You guys don't know if y'all worshiping the devil or the God that the Bible speak of.
Oh, I'm worshiping the God that the Bible speaks of. I don't worship no
You
devil.
don't even know where the Bible came from, though, because a lot of Christian people
came from the disciples, the people that walked
no, that's
around.
no.
Which version do you
that's
read,
not where the
Nana?
Bible come from.
Hold on.
I read
Which version do you
NIV,
read?
but it does not matter what version that you read because you're still getting the same message.
No, you're not.
No, you're
Yes,
not.
you
No, you don't.
Yes, you are.
close.
See, this is coming
That's why they're
from
different versions.
This is
They
coming from
are
people- this is coming
different
from
translations of the same book. But here's the thing about it, right? Is that this story is a whole bunch of different stories depicted by a bunch of different people, just like any other mythology. But here's the thing as well. Do you know how many, let me ask you this. So the resurrection, the most important thing of this little story that you have,
Let's not say
has
little.
multiple
Let's say big.
different variations.
See, this is coming from people that don't even read the Bible. Just because they're different.
I'm not going to read a man-made.
Okay, Look,
I'm not going to read the book of my colonizers first and foremost.
Exactly. Why am I reading the words of people who had me in chains? You sound
Are y'all
goofy.
see this is where y'all forgetting when people were slaves back then, they were not allowed to read, learn how to write, none of that. Obviously the white people can lie to them about what's in the book. I hope you know that.
First of all,
I hope y'all know that, right?
Hold on. No, I'm gonna pause you real quick because do you even know that your book literally came from Antioch? Do you know what Antioch is? Antioch is modern day Turkey. They were brown like the rest of us on this panel, first and foremost. So you can't go ahead and say the white tea man because guess what? Early civilization of Romans, they were people of color too. They had different shades of colors. So you can't just say it's a white tea thing. That happened during the Atlantic slave trade.
And your God supports slavery too.
He sure does. He tells you not to eat shellfish, not to mix fabrics, but I'll teach you how to treat your slaves.
Oh, you can buy children as slaves as well.
Sure could.
According to God's law.
What?
Children.
Come on, Nana, I thought you knew your Bible.
Where is it at? Pull up the
Stop, y'all confusing it.
Pull up the verses that say that.
All right, you really want me to? Are you ready for it?
See, y'all read
I got it right here. I got it right here.
stuff out of context.
Y'all don't read. Please pull it up, Skits.
All right, look, I'm gonna read it to you, okay, Nana?
Let me go ahead, pull it up.
Nana, I'm gonna read it, okay? It's Leviticus 25, 44 through 46. That's where God tells the Israelites they're allowed to own foreigners as slaves for life. So God told the Israelites they can go and get foreign slaves from the nations around them and own them as slaves for life. It says, about your men and women slaves, you may get men and women slaves from the nations around you. Also, you may get children as slaves if they come from the families of foreigners living in your land. These child slaves will belong to you. You may even pass your foreign slaves onto your children after you die, so they will belong to them. They will be your slaves forever. You may make slaves of these foreigners, but you must not be a cruel master over your own brothers, the Israelites.
Oh, you should also read her the verse about what God told Moses to do to the Amalekite women and children.
In Deuteronomy 21?
We can go there, or we can do Numbers 31.
No, Numbers 31, bro. That scarred me for life, and I read that when I was 9 years old.
So in Numbers 31, God commands that the young virgin girls be captured for his soldiers.
Not only that, but to unalive all of the little boys, every child.
Okay, now we'll stop you right there with the babies. Do you even know the reason why he did that?
I don't.
Wait.
No,
don't justify unaliving his innocence.
Are you really justifying unaliving children?
Let me explain it to you.
There is no explanation.
There's no explaining.
Everything you just said just got disproven. What is you saying going to do?
Are y'all going to let me talk? The reason why those babies got unalived is because he saw the way the people were going. He saw that they were going to end up in hell. So therefore, he just decided to, kill the babies so that they would not lead.
Please just say unalive. Don't say the K word. Just for Skits and Bits is live.
They ended up in heaven with him. They ended up in heaven with him.
No one went to heaven because no one came from heaven except for his son. It tells you that in your book. No one saw heaven. They're not going to see heaven.
No one ever saw heaven.
We're not going to do a screen match. All this yelling ain't going to get nowhere.
Let me ask you a simple
I have
question.
a very low tolerance for innocent unaliver sympathizers.
I have a very hold on, Nana. I have a very simple question for you. So, do you believe that it is okay to unalive babies because they are going to go to heaven anyways?
Do you not understand the reason why he allowed them babies to be
unalive? It's a yes or no, Nana.
Ask your question again.
Do you think it is okay to unalive babies because they are going to heaven anyways?
In the form of the context from the Bible, I would say yes, because he knew that if they lived...
Okay, so you would go and... hold on. So you would go and unalive a baby if you thought God told you to?
Well... If God,
there we go. That's the answer.
Hold on. I want her to answer.
Think about it.
I don't question what God tells me to do. If God says I do. If God says something, you follow. You don't question.
So you would unalive a baby?
I would not just go out and just go kill a baby just to kill a baby. Okay. I'm not going to.
Again, say unalive.
We're saying unalive for a reason.
If God told you to unalive a baby, would you do it?
Whatever God says goes. Like, I'm not
So you would
question what God
unalive a baby,
says.
correct?
If God says, whatever God says goes, that's my answer. Whatever God
Okay.
says.
So if
But
whatever
I'm not
God
going on
says
my way
goes,
to
do you
kill a
have
baby.
children? Do you have children?
No, I don't have kids.
Okay, so let's say you do have children, and your neighbor comes over to your house and unalives your children, saying that God told them to. Is that okay?
No. Y'all not getting what
So
I'm
you
saying.
give the special exception for yourself, but not for your neighbor. Why?
You sound goofy.
Ooh. Obviously, I'm not gonna go out here and go say, "Oh, I'm gonna kill this baby." I'm not doing
Bro,
that.
can you bring him off this live? It's like his fourth time.
Y'all are not understanding the context.
It's fine. It's fine,
the Bible
guys.
is talking about.
I mean,
but we'll leave it alone.
You
since
can
y'all
say
ain't no point.
kill. I don't care. It's okay.
Okay, then it's fine.
We're just trying to protect the life, Skits, baby.
Yeah, you can.
But here's the thing about it, Nana, all right? So you say that whatever God tells you to do, you will do it. He has asked people to unalive babies before. It's not a new thing.
And you understand why? See, do you understand? You don't understand why he told them to do so.
Okay.
You don't understand.
Again, so why would
what's
you?
the context?
So,
yeah, tell us why did he tell them to kill the baby?
Because he
Unalive
saw
the
the way
baby.
the
I'm sorry, I'm
people
still gonna say
he saw
unalive.
the way the people were living. He did not want those kids.
No, we're talking about. Yeah. Like it's like, couldn't God have like adopted the babies?
And
couldn't God have told the Israelites?
I have a human mind. God's understanding is not like my understanding. His understanding is on a different level. It's on a different level or different wavelength.
Okay, so Skits, ask me the same question that you asked Nana. See if I can come up with a different answer other than unaliving a baby.
Couldn't God have instructed the Israelite soldiers to adopt the babies?
Yeah, there you go. You know, basically
Instead of-
to raise them differently to where they are not, you know, for some reason, you know, sinful. They're babies. They're babies.
This is a question you got to ask God. This is a question you have to ask him. I'm
I
telling
shouldn't
you,
have to
God's
ask
understanding
a
is different from
fictional
our
deity.
understanding.
Listen, if Yahweh even exists, it's fisticuffs
coulda-
with that one.
You could have said that from the very beginning, Nana. You could have just said, "Look, you got to ask God." But no, you went on this like entire justification of trying
That's what I'm saying. Why,
justify
why are
babies
you going
being
alive if
killed.
your last name is going to be as God?
So again, it goes back to the question of me wanting to know if you are a safe individual or not.
I got to get another Christian up in here.
So
Add Anais, or whatever, is that her name? Anais? She said to bring her up.
I think
I don't know if I'm saying her name right or not. Yeah, her.
because I don't want you to get ganged up on.
It's Anais, actually.
Anais, my bad.
Anais.
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 Anais, are you Christian?
I am.
And are you Christian too, JCM?
This is my name.
Yes.
Well.
JC, are you
Yes.
there? Okay. And Hanji's not a Christian, but she doesn't follow Christianity. So
and I am an atheist myself, if you couldn't tell.
Solo, are you a non-believer? Solo.
I believe in the Creator, but I don't believe in the Bible or Jesus Christ.
Okay, I got you.
I believe
All
in the Greek gods.
I feel like, all right, I feel like it's pretty even. So if you guys want to talk, go ahead.
So
Yes.
JCM, y'all want to hop off what Nana was saying?
Yeah, I'm with Nana. She knows what's up.
Clock it. Like what?
So JCM, I will
Look,
ask you the
yes, I
same
would
question.
unalive a baby for God, yes, because God knows the greater good. He's the one. Those aren't your
What about your
children.
own child? What about your own
Yes.
child?
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely.
Wow.
Hands down.
Because can we get CPS to join this live stream?
Y'all
please?
are missing the point.
Let JCM talk.
That's so scary.
You don't understand God's word.
That's so dangerous
Look,
for you to
when
think.
you die, you ain't go. You think nothing's gonna happen? When those babies die, where are they going? They're leaving this evil, cruel world, and they're going to be with Jesus and
Wait,
God
calm
in
down,
His kingdom
JC. Calm down.
in heaven.
Why can't she talk with passion?
Because
Yeah,
y'all,
just calm
it
down.
is passion because it's God we're talking about that y'all don't understand. You're just talking about unaliving a baby. Like somebody's just gonna go grab.
Exactly, bro.
Off the will of another man. Yes, that's
Can you
next
ask me the same question that I asked
to take a
them?
life in the name of somebody else is messed up.
And y'all need to
You can't tell me anything different.
Y'all are the one that's messed up because where we go when we die is greater than this place where we're at right now. We are here on this earth with evil lurking about, and y'all are just falling into sin, falling in with it.
Can I say
Damnation. He put you on this earth to
He can take you out.
Okay, and I'm waiting for it. He's taking out multiple people.
And
He's
that's
got a
fine.
long
He did it
list
for
of
the
people that
greater
he's
good,
taking
just
out.
like he destroyed the whole city of Sodom because he saw that it was not good.
Let her talk with passion because when Hanji was doing it, you didn't say anything. Let her talk.
Because, again, I'm not yelling at you.
Can I say something?
I'm not yelling.
Nana
Please,
and
stop
I
yelling.
haven't gotten you this entire time. You're just
Tracy,
screaming.
I'm on your side, Jason.
Wait, guys, wait.
Whatever that is up on your tag, y'all are crazy.
Wait. I got a phone call, so I couldn't listen. I didn't hear anything that was going on. So
what's up?
JCM is unhinged.
What? I just asked her a simple question, and she's sitting here
The only
yelling.
one crazy here is you because of the simple fact that you would
calling CPS. Man, this is
hell
crazy.
yeah, we should. We should.
So-
The FBI should get the look on you too.
So
Yeah,
At it.
because it makes me sick to know that I live in a society filled with people like you guys who are just blaspheming.
Living in a society
talking
with
about
people
my
like
God
you
and your God.
that are
Kill 'em.
completely disgusting.
wait,
Yeah, leave the chat. You sound like a goofy nigga.
what? I got a phone call. I didn't hear anything that happened.
So basically, she was just having a yelling match with Chad, saying that we're demons, that hell yeah, she would unalive her own kids if God told her to, and that she's sick of people like us who live in this world. That right there, she needs to be in a padded cell, CPS needs to be called, and the FBI needs to do an investigation.
Oh no,
Well, that's
CPS
a
needs to
bit
be called on
extreme.
all these Christians saying they was gonna kill a baby.
You right,
They need to
Super,
be
you're
called on
right.
all these Christians. That's not no
Okay,
religion.
so
That's a
here's
cult.
the thing, right?
You're right.
So, Hanji, actually, because I love to hear your voice, Hanji. Why don't you
He
ask
is like
me?
real beautiful sound.
Why don't you ask me the same question that I asked them?
About unaliving children?
Oh yeah, ask me the same question.
My dear sweet Alistair Potato, would you ever unalive your child if your deity told you to?
No, I would immediately subject myself to a mental institute. Point blank. Period. If I'm hearing voices that I should unalive my children,
I think that
brah,
this
there's
conversation
something
is
wrong
very
with you.
pointless because we're talking
And you are a
about
danger
the
to
Old
society.
Testament, and this isn't going on.
Now, Small Potato, can you ask me the same question, seeing as I believe in multiple deities?
What up,
Okay,
NAE?
so
NAE, is that your name?
So Hanji, if any of your deities asked you to unalive your children, would you do it?
Absolutely not. And I would tell them, do you want to scrap now or scrap later? Because these hands are rated E for everyone, including deities.
I love Hanji. Her hands are rated E for everybody.
All right, so we got Jeremiah in here. Jeremiah, are you a Christian?
I'm Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Okay, because I just want to keep the panel kind of balanced. So we just kicked one crazy Christian out because she was saying she
Like-
would kill her kids, but you can
Listen.
you can take her spot.
I don't have children, but let me tell you something. If you tried to hurt any of the children that I love, and they are not my own, these are just kids I know. If you tried to unalive them in the name of your deity, I will send you to heaven faster than any Bible ever will. Just saying.
Like, you want to meet Yahweh? Okay, I'll give you an express pass.
Okay, that's not
the appointment.
So what is the debate here? Because I'm confused.
Well, you could
But
choose a
Skits-
topic. You could pick a topic if you want to.
Skits, my darling, I need to pick up some food. Balsi would like to come up. He can take my place.
Okay.
All right, love you, baby. I'll see you
See you
guys
later.
later. Bye, Smoke.
Bye, Andre.
Bye, Super.
Kisses, darling.
So, host, do you believe that you don't have free will, or
I'm not really sure on that, like what my position is, but if I believed in a God and if the God's knowledge was perfect, then I definitely wouldn't say I have free will.
I don't get your analogy.
I mean,
Like-
for me,
Like I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God, and I don't really know if I have free will. I'm still like researching that because there are some arguments to be made that you don't have free will. Like regardless, like if like all your influences are being, all your decisions are being influenced by outside things, and like you're not really choosing anything. So I really don't know. I'm kind of agnostic on that. But
You can't make choices.
Yeah, I do make choices, but it could be an illusion.
Free will is. So
Yeah, but how do I know?
understand what free will is? So
But-
to know.
No,
if you
he's
have free
saying
will
that
or not, you
because
have to
somebody said
understand
something
what
about
it is.
the definition of free will is to do something of one's own discretion without the necessity of fate or restriction. So this can be physical, mental, emotional, or psychological restrictions, or fate. So if something is predestined for you, you cannot have free will.
And
That
let me
is
say
the
this.
definition of it.
That doesn't go against Christianity at all.
God has a destiny for every single person on this earth right now.
Okay.
But yet people
So again,
still choose to
free
not follow
will.
that destiny. Are
So-
we act like robots? Do we live like robots? Do we not get to pick what we do day to day?
if I wanted to-
Okay, but if God was all knowing, then yes, we would be living like robots.
Hey, Super Saiyan. Can I ask you a
What's
question?
up? What's up?
Just because God knows what you're gonna do doesn't mean that you don't have free will. Like,
Exactly.
I'm hungry right now, right?
Right.
I'm gonna walk up to my microwave. I know that I'm about to put something in the microwave. I still have the choice to put it in there. I know I'm going to put something in the microwave because that's what I chose to do. Knowing that did not limit my ability to choose to do it.
Exactly.
Again, the
How does that
freedom
have anything to do with God, though?
could
Y'all saying God's knowledge
You just said free will doesn't exist because God is all knowledge.
I didn't say free will.
could I
doesn't
quite possibly
wait.
explain something a little differently? So, for example,
That's kind of
the
talking to
physical
Jeremiah.
limitation part, right? That's the thing that I have to think about. Free will, right? Do you have the freedom to do anything within your will?
You have the freedom to do anything within your nature that you're bound to. Like, I have free will, right? I can't
so you're
choose
bound
to go
to
fly
something.
in the air because
So
that's
it's
not in my
then
nature.
free, is it?
I'm bound
You're
by my
bound to
nature.
something.
We have free will. You just whatever you decide to do.
Okay,
the
so do
consequences
I
that come
have-
with it is what
hold
comes
on.
with it. Like
Hold
you
on.
have free will to go kill
Wait,
somebody.
guys. The argument, the argument is how can you have free will if God's foreknowledge is perfect?
Right.
And
That's what the
does
thing
knowledge
is.
have
So
to
like,
do with
so like
everything?
Jeremiah,
What does knowledge have to do with-
because Jeremiah used like he talked about putting something in the microwave, right? Like if God knew that you weren't going to use the microwave today, could you choose to use the microwave today?
That's an amazing question, and I can give you an amazing answer, but you're gonna have to give me like a minute and 30 seconds.
Okay.
Well, I can respond because just because.
Hold on,
God
just hold on.
knows what you're gonna
Let
do-
Jeremiah answer, please.
So when you ask the question in the framework that you asked it, you're already making an assumption about God that's wrong. So I have to correct you there. Your assumption is that he's living on the same timeline we are. Because you are comparing God to knowledge about the past, the present, and the future, just like we have. But God doesn't live on the past, the present, and the future. He's timeless. He lives outside of time. So he doesn't know things that I'm going to do in the future because to him it's all consistent in one time period.
So then he's not
So
all knowing.
although he knows, no, he knows. He's all knowing. He knows that
So-
I'm going to put it
but
in the
you just-
microwave because of the choice that I'm going to
But
make.
Jeremiah, you just said that God doesn't know the future.
That's not what I said at all.
Also, anything that
So,
is considered
okay.
to
That's
be
not what I said at
outside
all.
of time and
Is
space,
God's-
that's
is
the
God's-
definition of non-existence.
Is God's knowledge perfect?
You said bro power scaling God.
Absolutely.
Yes. And can God ever be wrong about what he knows is going to happen?
No.
No.
Not
So
inside of his nature, no.
So if God knows you're not going to use the microwave today, and God can never be wrong about what he knows, you can't use the microwave that day because you would make God wrong about what he knows if you were to choose
exactly
the
what I
microwave.
said before.
thinking about
You're
it is
presupposing. Wait, hold on one second. Sorry. You're presupposing that he knows before I'm doing it. He knows as I'm doing it because he lives in a timeless manner. He knows I'm not going to use the microwave because I chose not to use the microwave.
Okay, I'm presupposing that God knows the future. Is that correct?
Does God know the future on our existence? Yes.
Wait, there's two different existences?
No, we live in a different nature than he does. He's outside the nature of time because he created it. You cannot.
I'm not talking about God's nature. I'm talking about God's
creator.
knowledge. I'm not talking about God's nature. I'm talking about God's knowledge. Does he have perfect foreknowledge?
He has perfect foreknowledge of our nature. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So at this time, I'd like you to please answer. If God knows you're not going to use the microwave today, can you use the microwave today?
He knows that because I'm not going to use a microwave.
Right. So you can't use the microwave today, can you?
You're committing a false equivocation.
How?
Like I said, your question makes no sense.
No,
would you just answer it? Can you use?
I did.
Okay, so you don't have free will. You cannot freely choose.
No, that's incorrect. No.
Okay, explain how you can.
Did you not understand how I explained it before?
So Jeremiah,
God don't live on the same time frame as us.
Jeremiah, can you please, guys?
Okay, if God don't live in time, then how the fuck does God know that we put something in the microwave to begin
Christians
with?
never answer this because they just dance around it.
I'm trying
Okay, but can he observe what's happening inside what we're doing right now?
Oh no, you can go ahead and I'll let you talk.
Then the question still stands.
He knows what we're doing earlier, what we're doing now, and what we're doing in the future all at once.
If he knows all that at once.
So you can't freely choose the opposite of God's knowledge, can you?
To answer your question, Skits, I'll answer your question.
Please answer it directly. Can you freely choose?
I'll answer your question directly. So, if God knows that I'm not going to put something in the microwave, it's because I'm not going to. If he knows that I am, it's because I am going to.
So you're saying that God doesn't know. Hold on. So you're saying God doesn't know what you're going to do until you do it, which is not all knowing.
Can I say something?
You are assuming that God learns things through the same method we do, which is experience.
I'm assuming that your God knows the future. Is that correct?
You're assuming that he learns. He doesn't have to learn because he's all-knowing. His knowledge does not change.
Right. So and he knows the future, correct?
Yes, I just said that.
And God can never be wrong, right?
We're using the answers.
So if God knows that tomorrow you're going to turn left, can you freely choose to turn right and make him wrong?
No, because in his I've already.
No, you can't. So you don't have free will.
No, I meant no. Like your question was no. Like I've already turned.
You answered no. You answered no. I cannot choose. You said no. I cannot turn right.
Well, that's not what I meant. My bad.
So can you turn right even though God knows you're going to turn left?
He knows I've turned left because I've already done it.
No, but you haven't done it because it's tomorrow.
Right, but in the nature he exists in, which past, present, future are all one, I've already done it.
So
he
God
knows that's going to happen. You understand that?
Yeah, and can you freely choose the opposite? Can you tomorrow?
I can freely choose to turn left or right.
So God can be wrong about what he knows.
No.
You're not making any sense.
I don't understand that. Or no, because Jeremiah has had the floor for the longest.
Christians will always dance around this.
No, you don't understand what I'm saying.
You're not answering it.
Yeah,
I am answering the question.
No, you're not.
I haven't even been given.
If God's okay, and how you say
God doesn't need to learn like we do.
I'm not talking about learning. I'm talking about God's foreknowledge.
But that's the assumption you're making about foreknowledge.
The only assumption I'm making is that your God knows the future, and you agree with me.
Yes.
Okay. So Ananias, is that how you say it, Ananias?
Yeah, Anais.
Anais. Okay. I'm gonna just call you Ann. Is it okay?
No, could you call me Anais or Anise?
All right, I'll just go to somebody else who wants to talk about that. So Jeremiah, if God is all knowing and his knowledge is perfect, and he can never be wrong about what he knows, you cannot freely choose the opposite of God's knowledge, can you?
Your question makes no sense, dude.
Just answer it. If it doesn't, what do you mean? Does it make sense? It
was. You need to add Anaya back, folks. That was fucked up.
Yeah, that was kind of rude.
That was real fucked up, folks. You can't do that.
I don't care who's saying it. Like you can go too. I can't tell who's speaking.
Damn. Okay, my fault. You do you then, boss.
Who's speaking? I can't tell who's speaking.
Super Saiyan 15. You can kick.
All right. Yeah, you can go too. All right. So who else wants to come up here? Do we have any other Christians or atheists who want to come up here? Because it's kind of like trying to keep the panel balanced.
How many Christians do you have? Okay, 2. Me and him.
Scoop, are you a Christian, Scoop?
Hello, I'm not a Christian, but I am a believer of our Heavenly Father.
All right, I'm only looking to speak with Christians, all right? Only send a guest request if you're a Christian or an atheist, guys. We're trying to keep the panel balanced here. Darian, I'll bring you back up, but don't mention drugs, Darian.
I'm sorry for mentioning it. I'm sorry, but I was trying to find an analogy. That's all I was.
You good? It's just the
I was trying to find a
restricts.
perfect analogy so that so we can understand, or people can understand.
Yeah, it's cool. Just don't mention any illegal substances because it'll put an age restriction.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. I did not mean to do that. But I'm listening to y'all, man. I'm listening to y'all. And the thing about it is, it's really up to y'all. And all I'm saying is, I can't tell you what to do. And where did that young lady go? I forgot her name. She had the anime that was on her page.
She's right there, Small Potato.
Small Potato. Where's she? Is that with the pink? Her. She had a pink hair or whatever the case.
That's her.
Yeah, because the thing about it is, y'all. Oh yeah, okay, all right. So the thing about it is, y'all very knowledgeable, and so I will humble myself and say, when y'all say some things, okay, cool. But the thing about it is what people are trying to say to you, or what I'm trying to say to you is, when you are not in belief, you understand what I'm saying? Like, if you say, okay, I don't want to believe in this deity, I don't want to believe in this God, that's your free will. You're choosing to do whatever you want to do. Like, even though, like I told somebody here, we're not even supposed to even be on this platform, because there's a scripture in the Bible that tells us, let the world be the world. And we're supposed to judge each other how we judge each other. When y'all brought up the fact of, about slavery and all of those things, if we go into context in Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, during that time, the reason why God was allowing that to happen was because at the end of the day, the Israelites were prone to leave out of the things that God set for them. The reason why he did that was to be able, since you are allowing these nations to come in, this is what's going to happen.
Oh, so also, God bows down to the will of man. Okay.
But no, I'm not saying that. But at the end of the day, this is the thing. Don't twist my words.
I'm not twisting. I'm just saying exactly what you said. God bows down to the will of man, because God is all powerful. All he has to say is, "Don't own people as property." End of story.
The thing about it is, he can. And like I said, I'm not here to debate or to argue.
Hey,
I'm gonna say it from my end. But I'm listening to y'all.
Thanks for letting me up, bro.
What?
But
are you a Christian or a non-believer?
No, atheist, atheist.
But if we go back to oblivion, okay, cool. If that's what you want to say, and it's what you believe, all right. If he bows down and he made us to be creation to him, if there's a scripture in the New Testament that states that he wishes for no man to perish. So if he made a creation, you understand what I'm saying? He's not going to go. He's trying his best not to go against the creation, because he does have.
What about stoning your child to death? The Old Testament.
Okay, so if we go into the Old Testament, because this is why he also, if we are going to mitigate, or we're going to technically get away from the New Testament, we go to the Old Testament. You have to understand, during those times,
problems in the New Testament too.
Okay, now I'll humble myself, because that's what y'all also looking for. Tell me where in the New Testament, and I'm gonna go back to my point. Tell me in the New Testament about people being stoned. Now I'll listen to you, because I don't know that. I'm listening to you.
Are you referring to everyone else on the panel, or are you just
he just said it's also in the New Testament. I'm listening to him.
Because if you're talking about stoning, then easy. It's Ephesians 5 verse 6.
Okay, so can y'all tell me the story, because I don't know. So I'm listening to y'all.
Now you don't
can y'all
know.
tell me the story?
Come on, man. Now you don't know. Come on, man.
My brother, I'm not here.
You're a Christian, right?
But that's the thing. Y'all expect for every Christian to know everything. The thing about it is, look, wait a minute. I get what you're saying, but You ain't never met people that are actually trying to get to knowledge. The thing about it is, the way I believe, I don't call myself a Christian. I call myself a believer. I know that I don't know everything. And the thing about it is, I'm willing to learn. So the thing about it is, at the end of the day, whether Christian, non-Christian, you understand what I'm saying? I'm willing to listen to all views to get to the exact thing that I need to get to understand, so that I can make a very good choice for my own life as I walk. So once again, I'm asking you, can you explain with that? I don't know every scripture in the Bible, but when there is things that I need to fight for, the scriptures will pop up in my mind to be able to rebuttal you. So once again, I'm humbling myself. Can you please?
Yeah, Harris, can you go ahead and give the verse and explain it to him?
Yeah, give me. Let's see. Hold on, give me a second.
And really, that's what Christians are supposed to be, but we're not like that, as you can see from the Catholic Church and people that run into pagan gods. We're now understanding that the Catholic Church does everything to coexist, and they go to other things. As of right now, just a week ago.
I'm not familiar with any New Testament verse that talks about stoning people.
Yeah, me neither. But at the end of the day, that's why I said I'm humbling myself and I'm asking.
It's Old Testament. Hold on, give me a minute.
The only thing that I can remember is the prophet Stephen, or the disciple Stephen. He was a fair-faced man that got stoned because he was telling the Jews about Jesus Christ.
But
and he was the last one to stone.
Darian, what does Jesus say about the Old Testament? Does Jesus say the Old Testament should still be obeyed until the heaven and the earth pass away?
Yes, he did. He said, I didn't come to take away. You said it the last time before you dropped me off. He did say, I did not come to take away from the Old Testament, but to fulfill it. But at the end of the day, he also laid golden rules. You have to also...
Hey, give me a minute, bro, real quick.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Also, this is my fault. This is my fault on my part. I was thinking about Acts 7:59 when Stephen was being stoned.
Oh, my bad. Okay, cool. I'm listening to y'all. Y'all talk to me.
Okay, so if Jesus says that the Old Testament laws should be obeyed, and that the person who obeys them will be the most important in heaven, then in Deuteronomy 13, when God says you should stone your family members to death for not worshiping God, Jesus is encouraging that you follow that if you want to be the most important person in heaven.
But are you reading other New Testament scriptures to support the main idea of what he was trying to bring to?
Yeah, Jesus himself said, if you're truly a follower of him, you will follow all of his Father's laws.
Right.
So what verse cancels out what Jesus said?
So if we go deeper into the New Testament, you have to understand this thing. We go back into the apostles. So we have who? Mark, Matthew, John, John the Baptist. We have.
We're talking about what Jesus says.
Okay, but we understand. But he also had apostles, which is people that would follow behind him. I understand what y'all saying. I'm not fighting y'all, but I'm just saying. They were also a part of him after he left. Remember, after he left, the teachings that he was teaching them were a part of him.
Sir.
Right? Or am I wrong?
Sir, Jesus encourages you in Matthew 5 to obey the Old Testament laws if you want to be the most important person in heaven. One of those. Do you know
what laws he was talking about?
Yes, all of the Old Testament writings.
Okay, I got it.
Jesus said, and I quote, that he has not come to abolish the law, but for fulfill them.
I just said that. I agree with you.
I'm not done.
I just said that.
He continues to say, not a jot nor a tittle of the law will change until heaven and earth are destroyed.
You got to mute when you're not speaking, Darian. You got a bad echo.
Hey, Skits&bits, I got it. It's Deuteronomy 21, verse 18 to 21.
Yeah, but that's the Old Testament. He was asking for a verse in the New Testament.
Oh shit, my bad.
Yeah, Jesus himself said, not a jot nor tittle of the law will change. He is talking about all 613 commandments that God ordained in the Old Testament.
Darian, you're muted. I don't know if you know, but you're muted right now. I muted you because you had a bad echo. You got to click the little microphone button and unmute yourself.
They could never answer straight questions. Skits&bits. They always go around the question.
No, the thing about it is, like I said, I do agree with you. But the thing about it is, it's not. Even though you stated that, you would imply that it's all the laws, the civil laws, as the Hebrew Israelites are here today to tell you that. But the thing about it is, in this time, you will need divine guidance. Now, this is something that Christians don't teach. Now, that's something new because this is what people are arguing about right now. And so the thing about it is, like I said, I'm a student and I'm listening to y'all because look at what we're doing today. You're starting to find out a lot of Christians are really being this and being that, like even when Jesus was saying. But in actuality, you need to understand the character. You need to understand who he is. You need to understand this. And so that's why people can't answer your questions because they haven't went through. So the thing about it is, it's not about Christianity. Because as I'm even studying, Christianity as of right now is going against God. And God does not like religion.
Jonathan, are you a believer?
Yes, please. I'm a believer.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you
just
for
trying to keep the
yeah.
okay, I'm just trying to keep the panel balanced, so I was just like we needed another Christian to come in. So all right, you good. My bad, Dorian. What were you saying, Darian?
So everything that I just heard y'all was saying, what from my perspective and what I'm learning, and because my thing is, like earlier when I was telling you, okay, so what you need to do is, you said, no, you don't need to tell me what, I'm not telling you exactly what to do, but as I read, in order to be able to be divinely guided and have your answers, for your questions to be answered, you have to do these things that the Bible tell you to do. And so the thing about it is, when you read, you're reading it like it's a book. It means nothing to you. But to me, I want to believe. So there's a difference. It comes down to heart. It comes down to your very being, which right now, all of you that go against the Bible, it has nothing to do with religion. Once again. Okay, my bad.
What you want to believe because you want to believe it. That's it.
Right. And that's your free will. Whatever you want to believe. We're not supposed to be here convincing you. We're not here to say that.
You're the person that likes to pick and choose from the Bible, Darian. It's people like you.
No, I don't pick and choose. But at the end of the day, I can agree with you. What they call me is exactly what you're saying. And the thing about it is, no problem. But it's my choice right now to get away from it because I know what I've been through and what I'm going through. Like I said, I'm still studying.
Hey, Darren, where was God during all that? Where was God during all those times?
There's a scripture that tells me that God,
Did he ever reveal himself to you?
See, this is my problem. People have free will to do stuff, then they call on God to come and save them. Like what? That plays into a part of free will.
No, it doesn't. I would make every argument in the book against free will because it doesn't exist.
Child.
Okay, so please.
I do not even need to bring God into the conversation to demonstrate how free will doesn't exist.
Okay, elaborate.
Okay,
so, wait, hold on,
if free
guys.
will doesn't exist, why should this whole group was talking about like the unaliving of the children? Like when I was watching it earlier, if free will doesn't exist, why are any of these people being punished? Explain that.
Okay, can you define what free will is?
Well, you're the one who said it doesn't exist.
Yeah, we need to set a baseline. Can you define what free will is?
If people do things just because they
Jeremiah can't define free will. Shut up, Jeremiah.
If people,
Paris, no, let him do it.
You know why are people?
Define what free will is?
You just said it doesn't exist. Why does it matter?
It
setting
does
a
matter
baseline.
in this conversation. It sets the baseline of the conversation. Can you define what free will
But
is?
you just said it doesn't exist.
It still puts a baseline on the conversation.
He's trying to he's trying to have a common definition of the word before you debate on it.
Okay, sure. The ability to choose between different actions.
Yeah, that's not free will. That's free choice, not free will.
Okay, then explain.
Free will is the ability to act upon any decision without any outside influence, constraints of necessity of fate. So essentially, you can act upon any decision without anything influencing your actions. Here's the problem.
That's not what free will is.
That is what free will is.
That's not what free will is at all.
Yes, it is.
Because humans still have free will, even though we learn from experiences.
Can you name me one action that you can make with that?
Can y'all for those that do not understand, can y'all put it in layman terms? And if I put it in layman terms,
free will means that
I would be able to choose whatever I want to do. without having.
Wait, just Darian. Just listen to their discussion, maybe, and we can try to
Free
figure it
will
out.
means that you can act upon any decision without being influenced by anything.
Okay, I disagree with your definition.
That is the definition of free will.
I don't think that's correct.
It is. You want me to read it out loud?
You're just playing
Googled
semantics here. Because
would you agree with Google's definition of free will?
I don't know what Google's definition is.
It says the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion.
So necessity and fate aren't influence.
Necessity of fate.
No, necessity or fate. That's what.
Not necessity or fate. It's necessity of.
Necessity of constraint of necessity or fate.
Or fate. That's not influence. Like if I have the free choice. Wait, hold on. If I have the free choice to put my hand on a burning stove or not, although I have the choice, I'm going to choose not because I've experienced that when I do that, I get hurt or injured.
That's an influence.
Right. So in that, okay,
So
your
you
definition,
don't
I'll
have
agree with
free
you, but
will
your definition
because you
is
just admitted that decision was influenced.
Yeah, but I'm saying if that meets your definition, then I agree with you. But that's
Jeremiah,
not.
name me a single decision that you can make without an influence.
Sorry, wait, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Name me a single decision you can make without an influence.
No, I just said I agree with you. If that's your definition, I agree with you. But that's not correct at all. That's
But
not
it
even,
is the correct definition.
I don't think that's an agreed upon definition between anyone.
It is.
I think that's just
act on your own discretion.
Decisions are influenced. If that's your definition,
every
then sure,
decision
but-
that you make is being influenced.
Okay, you could get influenced by something, but at the end of the day, it's your choice to pick if you want to do it or not.
Influence
it's
is
still
not
being
necessity.
influenced.
Oblivion. Influence is not necessity. I don't think you're understanding that.
Guys, real quick, guys. Let's let Jonathan's been trying to chirp in for that past couple minutes. So let's let Jonathan come in if you guys don't mind. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Don't mind my accent. I'm speaking from Nigeria actually. So I've been hearing you for a while, and then what I notice is most of us have some kind of misconception about the whole concept of Christianity. So now when we are talking about Christianity, and I can say Christianity is built based on Christ's lifestyle. It's based on Jesus Christ. So as a Christian, we are not expected to have a form of religion because we are Christians, right? So Christianity is the concrete origin concept of Christianity came from Jesus' lifestyle.
So wait. So you just interrupted to preach? The conversation was about free will. I thought you were trying to interrupt and trying to interject into the conversation of free will, but it sounds like you just wanted to preach.
Yeah, he basically talking to me about Christianity.
No.
I accept it.
Yes. So.
You're addressing what Darian was saying
is because
15 minutes ago.
Yes.
And then the killing, the unaliving stuff that I had you speaking lately, because I thought that this is very important, that I need to chip in some stuff, So why am I a Christian? I'm a Christian because I'm a follower of Christ. So anything that I do not see Jesus Christ do, I'm not supposed to do that. So when you come up to me and say, okay, unalive this kid, I'm not going to do that because I'm following Christ, right? So basically that's the whole concept of Christianity. We are not just the follower of, we don't just do stuffs, we just following the footstep of Jesus Christ. So if someone who is claiming to be a Christian is doing something outside the footstep of Jesus Christ, then that is not actually a Christian actually. So basically that's what I wanted to actually chip in. So I don't know, probably I know that you guys might have some question.
Yeah, we weren't really talking about no true Scotsman, what makes a Christian a Christian. We were just basically talking about free will. But again, when it comes into the free will argument again, can you name me an action that's not being influenced? Because free will entails that you can make a decision and act upon on your own.
You're just arguing with a wall. Everyone already conceded, bro. You're just arguing with a wall. What are you talking about?
But
if that's your definition,
but Jeremiah,
you're arguing semantics. You're arguing
but Jeremiah,
semantics.
you didn't really offer a refutation. You just said I don't agree with your definition of free will.
Right. Well, you made me give a definition to establish the basis of the argument. If that is your definition, just arguing semantics here, then it makes complete sense. But that's not agreed upon from anyone else I've talked to, and it makes no sense.
Look up a different definition of free will. Let's see.
It is agreed upon.
It's not. Influence is completely different from necessity.
Okay, what does on one's own discretion mean?
The free choice.
That's not what free choice means.
This says what is the basic
influence or free? You're saying free will means you have to make a choice without any influence.
Not that you have to. It is the
or you can
to make a decision without.
Can you describe influence? Like, what is influence in that?
So this is I just asked, like, what is the basic definition of free will, and it says voluntary choice or decision. I do this of my own free will. Freedom of humans to make choices that are not determined by prior cause or by divine intervention. Can you guys agree on that?
Prior cause or divine intervention
influence
is not influence.
That is an influence.
I think we're just disagreeing on the semantics.
Yeah, that would be an influence.
So
it says choices that are not determined by prior causes. A prior cause would be an influence.
So
that's literally what influence means.
I'm not trying to say anything. So alcohol, drugs, is that an influence? I'm just asking a question.
What was the question?
Is alcohol and drugs an influence?
Alcoholism is an influence.
Okay, so we got that part. And then you said, again, the host, what was the other thing that you just said?
The definition I'm reading is, well, like I Googled what's the basic definition of free will, and it says, one, either voluntary choice or decision, i.e. I do this of my own free will, or two, freedom of humans to make choices that are not determined by prior cause or by divine intervention.
So influences.
So
I would say that a prior cause.
What is divine?
A prior cause would be an influence. I would agree to that.
So all we have as humans are two things, which would be drugs and alcohol, and then divine intervention. So divine intervention is what we're speaking on right now between God and deities, basically, if I'm understanding correctly.
It basically means without any influence, even ones of divinity. So a god, angel, spirit, or anything can't tell you what to do.
See, this is why when the person, I forget who it was, but somebody asked me earlier if I believe I have free will as an atheist. I don't know it. I still don't know how to answer that yet.
Skits, what definition do you? Oh, sorry.
I don't know. Like, I feel like I make choices, but if you listen to arguments of people who are determinists or hard determinists, they make good arguments that say, no, it's an illusion. You think you're freely choosing things, but actually all of your actions and your choices are influenced by your outside surroundings or chemical reactions in your brain. Is it really you choosing the things, or are you being influenced?
Yeah, so let's argue your definition and then mine, because your definition is just outside influence. Influence is everywhere in daily life. We only know things through experience. You're saying all experiences are influences.
Yes.
So obviously I can't argue with that. But the definition I've always used is just like kind of what Skid said. The Google definition was necessity or fate. It has to be outside necessity or fate. That's what I've always deemed as free will. Your definition to me seems very circular, almost like you can't argue it because all of our experiences are from influences. So that just doesn't make any sense to me.
But the funny thing about it is what he just said, the host. I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
I was like, do you know what it means when something says necessity of fate?
Like it's predetermined.
Not necessarily. Predetermination could be one, but it's not always. It's essentially when you hear the phrase, when actions have consequences, that wouldn't apply.
Okay.
So if I do something wrong and I get a punishment for it, that's what it's talking about.
When it says what?
When you do an action and that action is followed by a consequence or an opposite reaction. For sure, give me that.
Yeah, what does that have to do with?
The action after that is the equal and opposite or punishment is fate.
I don't think that's right. No, I think fate is predetermined. Like you are already going to do it, whether you can make the choice or not.
Yeah. Either way, it doesn't exist, especially if you have a being, if you believe that this being can see the future. Because if
So
the future
why do you put murderers in jail then? If they have no choices, we have no free will.
So are you gonna argue the hard determinist route or the soft determinist route? Because that's the problem with hard determinism.
I mean, you tell me. I mean, that's just a question.
I'm not arguing hard determinism, because if you're going to argue hard determinism, that's a different topic entirely.
I mean, it's just a question. If we have no free will and we can't make any choices, then why punish people for the choices that they didn't make?
Because that's the byproduct of us being a social species. We're going to remove people that are not a benefit to our species.
No, but we don't have the choice to remove them or not.
We do.
No, because we don't have any choices. You just said we didn't have any free will.
Free will and free choice does not mean that you don't have choices.
That makes no sense.
That's not what free will means. It's not the lack of ability to make a choice. It's that the ability to make a choice without an influence.
So we have Stephanie in the comments is saying that they're a determinist and that they can answer. So.
How can you make any choices without influence?
Hi, I'm Stephanie. So the reason in determinism that there would be consequences is because they can work as one of the influences to deter the behavior. So we have to enforce laws as if we do make decisions, because the laws in place would help to decrease the occurrence of that thing, because that's one of the influences on a person to determine whether or not they will perform an action.
That makes sense, kind of.
I'm so out of breath. I'm going to drop now. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said earlier,
thank you. Appreciate
punishments.
So if we go into the Old Testament, like y'all keep going into, there were people just like her that popped up that were made after Moses. Moses was supposed to be the person to determine, and God made sure that there were people who said.
Can I rebuttal kind of what Stephanie said, or just ask a question about it for you guys in the panel?
No, go right ahead.
So she said that the reason that you make those laws is to add an influence to deter behavior.
Yeah.
But who is deciding what behaviors to deter?
Society. The
And
society
why?
that you live in.
But they don't get the choices if
They do.
unless they're
Again,
influenced.
free will does not entail that you don't have the ability to make a choice. Free will entails that you can make a choice without anything influencing your actions.
So if
it's
all
not about the
actions are
choice
inevitable,
itself, it's about the action of it. And that was it influenced, yes or no?
if all actions are inevitable and all actions are influenced, why would the
free
law
will doesn't exist?
Why would the law deter anyone else?
Because that is an influence.
The people making the laws are influenced as well. By what prior?
By societal norms and laws.
And societal norms and laws are agreed upon between the people of the society that also have to be influenced, right?
Yes.
So Jeremy, hold
Can
on.
I
Jeremy.
ask Jeremiah a question? Just figuring out what his mindset is.
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'll let Jeremiah respond, and then Joel has something
right.
to say too.
So I'm trying to put this in a different way. So say that I am. Let's just say that there is somebody who is paralyzed from the waist down. They are wheelchair bound. They cannot get up and walk. So they are faced with 3 choices at the mall. They want to get to the 2nd floor. Can they take the stairs? Jeremiah.
What can they? What do you mean? Can they take the stairs?
If they're in a
Can
wheelchair.
they take the stairs?
Like by themselves? Like
No.
walk up the stairs like we do?
Yes. Can they walk up the stairs?
If their legs don't work, then no, they can't walk.
Okay. Can they take the escalator?
I mean, I guess in most scenarios, probably not.
Okay. Can they take the elevator?
I'd imagine so, probably, yeah.
Yes. So you just eliminated 2 choices for them. What if they wanted to go up the stairs?
Okay. What if they wanted to go up the stairs? What?
They can't. They don't have the ability to do so.
Right, yeah, I already...
So therefore,
that's what I was trying to explain to you guys earlier.
So therefore, it takes away free will.
No, that's wrong.
basically what it's doing.
It's not wrong because again, Jeremiah, they could still make the choice to go up the stairs. They can crawl up the stairs.
Well, that's why I asked. That's why I asked if they could walk.
It
I
doesn't
asked if
change
they
the
could walk.
fact. They can't. The whole point is that they can't walk.
I know. I said
it doesn't change the fact that they still have the choice to go up the stairs by crawling on it. But you eliminated that because they're influenced by the fact that they can't walk. I don't want to climb up the stairs to harm myself. I don't want to take up the escalator because it's too much of a hassle to get the wheelchair up there. So I'm going to take the elevator. They still have the choice to make all the other ones. It's just been influenced by the fact that they do not have working legs.
Skits, can I respond?
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy. Let's respond, and then we'll let Joel come in.
Obviously, I knew that they could crawl up the stairs because when she asked the question of walking up the stairs versus whatever, I said, are you sure you want to ask walk? I specified, did they want to ask that they were walking because people who are paralyzed
And
can't
I said
walk.
walk for a very specific reason.
Yeah, because and he just mentioned crawling, but that's the first thing.
Okay,
Anyways, I'm
again-
gonna pass by that. Let me go on to what you said now.
I don't
was just
think you
talking about
guys
what
are
said.
getting what I'm trying to say.
I know exactly what you're saying. I trust me, I do. I understand it, but
So that negates free will. That takes away their free will to walk up the stairs.
Okay, let me explain this. Sorry, Oblivion jumped in and anyways, what free will does not change based on you being bound to your nature. For example, like you just said, your example is the same as this one, theoretically. If I go outside and I need to get to work, I got 3 options: walk, drive, or fly. Obviously, I can't fly because I'm bound by my nature. You can't make a choice outside of the nature by which you're bound in. That doesn't disagree with free will.
Again,
It makes no sense.
that's libertarian free will. We're not even
That
arguing
makes no
libertarian
sense. That
free will.
doesn't disagree with free will.
Oblivion, hold on, Oblivion. I'm trying to get to a certain point
If
here.
you can't walk, then of course you're going to be bound by the nature
So
that you can't walk. So whether you want to make
Joel,
the
you're
choice
gonna have to
walk
just bully
up-
yourself in here, Joel.
Whether you
Jeremy-
want to make the choice to walk up the stairs, that's not even a
So
choice.
You made another thing, right? So you said that you want to drive to work, right? You have to take a certain path or a certain path or a certain path. What if your car breaks down? Do you have the free will to get to work on time when you need to be at work in 2 minutes, but it's 20 minutes walking distance?
If my car breaks down, it's not going to obstruct the idea of free will because it's no longer an option.
Now free will is an idea. You know what an idea is?
I know what idea is. Free will is bound by your nature. You cannot make choices
philosophical.
that are outside of your
It doesn't
nature. That makes
exist.
no
You can't
sense.
give an example of free will if it's an idea.
And also on top of that, like immediately you jump from what we were talking about, which is reserved free will, which is within nature, to libertarian free will, which is if I want to fly, I could just fly. You made that jump.
No, she made the jump because she said, can the person walk up the stairs? If they're paralyzed from the waist down, that's outside of their ability to make the choice thereof.
So
they don't have that choice.
Jeremiah, do you listen to
that-
a lot of Kent Hovind?
Okay,
Uh,
again, can we please not?
see his
Can we
face.
please stop doing that? I'm trying to get to a point. So, if you say that they can't walk up the stairs, they don't have the free will to walk up the stairs. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand, but it's factually incorrect.
Okay, how is it factually incorrect that they don't have the free will to walk up the stairs?
Because
How are they
free
going
will
to
is
walk
by-
up the
is-
stairs?
Free will is bound by your nature. If I want to go fly, that doesn't mean I
bound
just
by
can't
something,
now
so
because
it is
I have
influenced
free
by
will.
something. Okay, so is free will influenced?
Yes.
How?
It sounds like sorry. It sounds
Based on
like,
my definition, yeah.
Okay, what is
Yeah.
the real definition?
So the real definition.
I agreed with Skit's definition from Google: the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate.
Okay, the constraint of necessity.
Yeah,
but
so
it's
Jeremy,
not. As Oblivion mentioned, oh, this is where you guys messed up. As Oblivion mentioned, the person on the wheelchair could crawl up the stairs, but
That's
they don't
the
want to
reason
based
why
on
I said
influence.
walk.
Yeah, I think
Jeremiah,
what's-
you're not understanding this.
I'm
Small,
definitely
small.
understanding
Hold on.
what you're saying.
Guys.
completely understand.
Jeremiah. I think what Small is saying is that the guy in the wheelchair doesn't have the free will to stand up and use his legs to walk to the escalator or do anything else because he doesn't have that ability.
Because it's outside of his nature.
So by necessity, he doesn't have the free will to do that. In the same way that if I want to go run and jump off a cliff and fly, there is going to be fate involved. I cannot physically do it. So that's why the dictionary definition of free will that you agreed with doesn't exist. It's impossible for us to have free will by the dictionary definition. And I
That's
think
incorrect.
Well, where is that incorrect?
So let's say I want to go on a boat across an ocean, and there's one boat available.
Mm-hmm.
Since I don't have the free will to take another boat, that means I don't have the choice at all. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, everything
you can only
is
make
constrained.
choices. You can only make choices that are available to you. The free will is to make choices that are made available to you. If you can't walk because you're wheelchair bound,
you're talking
don't
about
have the option to choose to walk. That's
Jeremiah,
outside of your nature. That doesn't impede on the nature of free will.
No, Jeremiah, just to be clear, you have a different definition, which you already kind of said. So you have this definition that seems like a bit more like a free choice, or we could call it agency to still make a decision. But you don't have free will by the dictionary definition because of the constraints of necessity or fate that are involved. So you just have to accept that. And that's fine. We don't have that level of free will. I don't think it's even possible. I think only God could possibly have that. So that's all.
So you're just, if you just want to argue the semantics, I'll concede. But
we have, just argue that's the point, is that dictionary definition doesn't work.
Then guess what? I'll change my definition just for you.
Perfect.
Joel. My new definition is going to be the power of acting without constraint of necessity or fate, based on the options available, bound to you by your nature.
Mm-hmm. And free from influence?
No.
So you can be influenced.
So that you still don't have free will.
No, I do not.
So the thing is that, Jeremy, how can we make a free will decision if we're influenced is my question. How can a choice we make be free if there are influences involved?
I also got some to add too.
That's just how it is. I mean, like with the stove.
That's just how it is. Is what we're talking about right now.
We learn from experiences, I mean,
yeah.
The stove's hot. I can freely choose whether to put my hand on it or not. I'm just going to make the choice not to because I know from experience that if I touch it, it's going to cause me pain.
Yeah.
Things can be influenced, but that doesn't impede on my free will.
But this is the problem, Jeremiah, sorry, I keep calling Jeremy. This is the problem. The problem is that the you that is making decisions is really just a collection of influences. Okay? So all you are is an influence being of influenced by things that you did not choose. So your biology and your environment. So the being that is deciding not to touch the stove is being influenced and compelled by their biology and their previous experiences. So I don't know how you can say that that your choices are free in any way.
So what is influencing me if I go and touch the stove?
Your biology and your environment. So if you've ever touched the stove before, and you felt that it was hot and you maybe hurt yourself, then that would be an environmental influence. That's a lesson that you learned.
Right. What if I went and touched it right now while it was hot? What
you were influenced by this conversation.
Yeah, there's always an influence. You can always, it's difficult because we have the illusion of choice because we don't have a perspective that is outside of space and time type of thing where we can see every influence that's ever influenced us. So we really feel as though we have choice. But if you zoom out and you just think critically for a second, you can see that you didn't choose your biology, you didn't choose your DNA, you didn't choose your race, you didn't choose when you were born, you didn't choose who your parents were, you didn't choose your eye color, you didn't choose anything about who you are, even personality traits. And then you went through life being influenced by everything around you that you also didn't choose. So by the time you get to choose like Cheerios or Shreddies, you're influenced. Everything is just entirely, all it is influence. You're an influence vessel responding to stimuli. There's nothing free about that. That's cause and effect.
So I agree with what you just said, but it doesn't impede on the semantic argument of my definition that I provided. So,
well, it does.
It just impedes on reality. That's all.
It doesn't impede on the definition that I've agreed upon that Skits provided.
So you think that we still have free will that is free from necessity or fate based on the options provided you, even though you're influenced to make the decision anyway. So you're going to still stick to this version of free will, which is not it's not a definition of free will that anyone could ever agree on, because it's just not free.
I mean, like, if he really wants to argue the semantics, then really I would just argue the whole break down the word of free. Because if you're going to say that you have free will, but you still have influences which are restrictions, then you're truly not free.
Exactly.
The definition of the word free and the definition of the word free will are going to be different.
But Jeremiah, hold on. You just said you go. That's the definition Skits read. He read the definition and you added to it, so it's not the definition. The definition is being able to make choices.
You added to it as well.
No, I have said
you added influence. Influence is never mentioned in that definition.
Yeah, you're right. I was being charitable to you. So we don't have free will based on the dictionary definition. And then I was saying, just to put the nail in the coffin, that we don't make any decisions or choices free from influence. We don't even have free choice. So that's what I was doing there.
Yeah,
okay?
that's what I was trying to get to as well, is that we can go as far as to say we don't even have free choice. At best, we have limited choice based on the context in which we live for the rest of our lives. Anything can influence you outside of that choice. So the way I was trying to frame it, if people were, if this happens to me every time, I try to make a point and people don't like to follow my point. They just like to, just jump around. So the point is that you are constrained. Your body is physical. Your world is logical, or the world that I live in. I don't know about everybody else in here, but I live in logic. I have to live in logic for the rest of my life. I do not have the free choice to do certain things. The reason I made the wheelchair, hypothetical is because I am physically disabled in a way to where I cannot make certain choices, or certain choices have to be made for me to preserve my life and my liberty. So for you to say that we have free will kind of spits in my face a little bit, because if anything, I have very limited choice in the matter of what happens to me.
Everyone's bound by their nature.
Again, it's being bound.
Making a choice outside of your nature does not impede on free will.
Yes, it does.
There's nothing.
Jeremiah.
There's nothing.
Jeremiah, I gotta tell you something. Listen.
But that's exactly why the New Testament was made. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk.
Wait, yeah, let's let Twice hasn't really spoken. So,
all right, listen, right? So I heard earlier you guys was talking about how free will does not, like, if you have free will, then you cannot have any intervention with anything divine. But would you go to hell if you don't believe in God?
The text actually doesn't support that.
I'm asking Jeremiah, will you go to hell if you don't believe in God?
Sorry, my thing cut out. Can you repeat the beginning part as well?
I said, free will, right, according to you, is no divine intervention. But would you go to hell if you don't believe in God?
No one goes to hell for ignorance. They're judged based on what they know. That's what the Bible teaches. But if you are willfully choosing to not put your trust, then yes.
So this means that we have to follow God's, right? It's divine intervention right here.
No,
we have to follow His rules, right?
You still have the choice whether you want to or not.
You don't have to.
But that means we will go to hell, though.
Right.
Okay,
your actions have consequences, but that doesn't mean that you're bound to one action. Let me ask you the same thing. If you were a Christian, would you believe, based on what the Bible teaches, that people have been to hell before?
Well, you don't know if anybody gone to like hell or not, but I'm asking you though, right?
Actually, I do. There are stories in the Bible that talk about people specifically going to hell, and because of that, I know that choice is able to be made, and because of that doesn't impede on the definition of free will.
So, so what you're saying is that you still got free will, right? But you just have to obey God to have a blissful afterlife and not be tortured indefinitely in hell.
You don't have to do it. That's the beauty of it. Love,
but you will
always
get
a choice.
Tortured.
You cannot,
Okay,
you cannot be forced into love.
Jeremiah,
love is a choice.
Jeremiah, let me explain this to him. So in the Bible, God is light. Without light, there's darkness. That's what basically hell is. You send yourself there if you choose to not. If you don't believe with God, if you don't believe in God, why do you want to go to heaven? Because that's where He is. Why do you want to be somewhere He is? You're making your own choice to not want to be. To not believe in Him, to not want to be with Him. So therefore, why do you want to be in His presence? And darkness without light. Wait, what? Light. I'm messing.
Listen, I'm just trying to say, right, that nobody wants to get tortured, right? You don't want to get tortured at all.
Don't.
And so do atheists. They don't want to get tortured in the afterlife. So I'm saying, right, that these atheists who don't hurt anybody at all, they don't have to be evil people, but they still have to believe in God. So they don't get tortured, right? They can be the best person ever, but if they don't believe in God, then they're going to hell. Is that really free will?
You're saying which one is the best choice, and if you want me to provide you with what the best choice is, I'll say choosing God is going to be the best choice, but that doesn't mean that you're required to or it's necessity or fate. You still have the choice.
That is necessity or fate.
Yeah, so the description of like a carrot or stick, either going to heaven or going to hell, is hell would be a fate, I would say. And if you want to say that not wanting to go to hell there's a necessity to not go to hell.
The choice
to choose
is not constrained by necessity or fate.
Yeah, those choices are constrained because there's
the forefront of
involved.
the choice or the actions or the consequences based on the choice. Those would be considered fate, but the choice itself is not constrained by the fate.
What do you think? What do you think the definition means when it says not constrained by necessity or fate? Right? Like, I don't know what it means to have a choice that is, by your definition, constrained by necessity or fate. Because to me, if jumping off a cliff will make me fall to my unalivement, and so I can't do that because there is a fate there, or I can't not drink water because I need to drink water, so there's a necessity there. So I would say I don't have free will in that. You would say I still have a free choice to not do those things. I will just unalive. So then what is a choice that isn't free will, I guess is my question to you.
You just explained it.
No, like,
you just explained it to yourself.
How can I not have free? So we have to have free will. There's no, the word is pointless because there's no version of events where we don't have free will.
I don't exactly understand what you're asking.
Describe a choice that is constrained by necessity or fate. Describe a non-free will choice. What would that look like?
Well, based on the definition of free will, if you have free will, you have the ability to make choices.
Yeah, so tell me of a choice
making equivocation. You're making a false equivocation.
No, Jeremiah, I would say that if I jump off a cliff, I don't have the free will to jump off a cliff because there's fate involved. I will fall to my death.
Have people jumped off cliffs before?
Yeah, so I have
an option.
I have the ability, I have the option, I can go jump off a cliff, but I would say it's not a free will choice because I will fall to my death. That is what I'm saying. So you believe that that's still a free will choice. So I want you to show me a choice that is not a free will choice.
Wait, in my head,
that makes no sense.
Is in my head what is
free will is the ability to make choices. You can't make a choice outside of it.
The ability to make choices.
My point earlier, right? Listen, my point earlier is that you have free will according to you, right? But if you use the free will, then you can go to hell, basically, and die and be tortured indefinitely.
Yeah, so twice he's saying that is still free will because even though there's fate involved, that he can still freely make the choice, where everybody else or most people would say that when there's fate involved, it's a coercive choice that is not free. So this is where my question is that I don't know if it's...
But you just said that people have done it before, so why were they not coerced in the same manner that you were?
So then it wasn't free.
It's still coercion.
Yeah, but you just said
other people...
you would argue that jumping off a cliff isn't a free choice because it would end your life. But people have done it before.
Yeah,
so
it's
that
not
means
free,
it is a
it's
choice.
not free from a consequence, which would be fate. Like, it's not free.
Consequence is not the same as necessity or fate.
Well, there's a constraint of fate. That consequence, you can put that word in there. Fate and consequence
and
not that
fate
different.
in this manner are not interchangeable.
All right, well, then
If they're interchangeable, they're synonymous.
Yeah, they are. They are, Jeremiah, but we don't have to. We'll just say the word fate, and you can. It is a consequence, but it is fate. The fate is that you fall
There's
through
always
that.
going to be There's always going to be a consequence after your action. The definition says that the choice has to be constrained previously by this consequence, meaning that it would have happened whether or not you made the choice.
What about the people born with disabilities? What about those people? They never had the free will to choose.
I want to know about this because now you're just adding on to the definition, Jeremiah. Where in the definition does it say that the constraint has to be there before?
The power of acting without the constraint. It means that the power that when you're doing the action, it has to be without the constraint.
Yeah, but the question was, where does it happen before?
When you're doing the action without the constraint. The constraint has to be there before you do the action for it to be there.
No, it doesn't. The constraint happens after.
If the constraint
is the
if the constraint is going to happen, it has to be there before.
The constraint is the fate.
Okay, but this is exactly what twice.
Fate is what happens
said.
when you do the choice, right?
Yeah, you're just asking the same question twice. I already answered that. Even though your actions have consequences, you still have the ability to choose between the two actions.
Fate
Although they
is,
both will have a consequence.
adverse outcome.
About the ability to make the choices, the ability that you can make it without any consequence or influence.
The ability to act at one's own discretion.
Exactly.
So this is the thing, Jeremiah. If I came up to you and I said, "Give me all your candy, or I'm going to throw you off this cliff," would you have a free will choice in that moment to either give me all your candy or not give me all your candy?
Yes.
Okay, so you still call that a free will choice, even though it's 100% coercive, and there is fate involved, and there is a necessity involved. There is something constraining you. There's something that's going to influence and compel that choice. You've got to see that.
Yeah, you still have the ability to make the choice.
Right.
So the only thing that's differing is your experiences.
So Jeremiah, what we're saying that because of the dynamic of hell and because of all the other things that we've already talked about, we have no free will, and that seems to make sense with the definition to those of us that agree with the definition. So this is the reason why I'm asking you, and I understand that this is a weird question, and I'll try it one more time. But why do we have a word called free will with a definition to be able to make a decision free from constraints or of necessity or fate if there's no ability to ever not do that? Because that's what you're describing. I can't imagine a time where we make a choice that is not absolutely free by your definition.
Why would we have the term bicycle if a bicycle is only bound to it being a bicycle and it can't be a car? That makes your question makes no sense.
That's not really what I mean.
We will because of the ability.
You're saying
of the definition. Of
is
course,
there ever?
It's not going to be outside of the definition. Otherwise, it'd be a different name.
So is there a non-free?
Thank you for the time. If you want to let another atheist up, everybody be well. I'll see you later at Justin's.
Love you,
All
the
right.
algorithm.
See you later.
Yo, Jeremiah, I got a question for you, Jeremiah.
Wait, you guys
So
mind
what
if
about-
you guys mind if I change the topic? Because we've been talking about free will for like 2 hours.
We're not getting.
Yeah. Wait, I got one more question though. I got one more question.
All right,
Go
one more
ahead.
question,
What about
and
the
then I
people
wanted
with,
to ask Jeremiah something too.
What about
we're not
the
getting
people
anywhere.
born with disabilities, right? The people who can't see, the people born with
I've
no
already
legs or
answered this
conjoined
question
twins.
like 5 times, bro. I've already answered it like 5 times.
Okay, okay. you
So,
don't have to
so,
answer that then.
so Jeremiah, I just want to like you said something like earlier that kind of like I found interesting. You said that God doesn't send people to hell over ignorance, which would basically mean that.
That's
that would
mostly
basically-
what's taught in the Bible based on what I know.
So like if God doesn't send people to hell over ignorance, why would you tell people about your God? Because then as soon as you tell them about your God, all of a sudden now they run the risk of going to hell. Whereas if you didn't tell anyone about your God, they would just go to heaven.
I mean, me personally, most people that I talk to already know about God and they've chosen all predetermined already to deny him. I just try to sway that decision. I don't really. I mean, that's an interesting question. I never really thought about it from that angle, but as far as me personally, I've never had a situation like that.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because if there's a whole bunch of other people that are just like you that believe that God will not judge somebody over their ignorance, why are any of you people going around talking about your God? If you just kept your God to yourself, then people who didn't know about God would just go straight to heaven.
Because the reason why we're even on earth, we're called to spread the word of God. That's our whole purpose, to spread the word.
Yeah, but now you're just like giving people like a risk of going to hell when you didn't have to.
Right. So I mean, I guess I would think of it just like a trade-off. Like if I told nobody and kept my mouth shut my entire life, people like the 9 of you guys or 8 of you guys in this live would
we would go to heaven. We would go to heaven because we don't know about God.
But you already knew about God before I came in this live, right, Skits?
Yeah, but if I was somebody who had no idea about
I know,
your God,
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Is
guys? But I'm
you
talking
guys
about that
chosen,
person.
I know.
The person that has no idea about your God, is the moment you tell them about your God, now they are like a 50-50 shot of going to heaven or going to hell.
But, I mean, let's be logically consistent here. I can't know without talking to you whether you know about God or not, right? I mean,
but wouldn't it be safe just to not even ask people about your God?
I think it would be
they would
more
be judged
detrimental
according to the natural law. There's natural.
I think it would be
moral
more
law.
detrimental because, like I said, most people that I talk to,
Jeremiah said that God will not send people. Jeremiah said that God will not send people to hell over ignorance of the existence of Him.
Yeah, so people, if they're ignorant of God, they can still go to hell because there's a natural law that they.
That's not what Jeremiah said.
Okay, then I don't agree with Jeremiah. I'm just saying the Christian view.
Oh no, we're not two Christians who disagree with each other.
Oh no, that's never happened before.
I know, right?
Oh man.
I can answer your question.
I think what
I can answer
Jeremiah might have just misspoke. He's just what he maybe meant to say, not to speak for you, is that if people are ignorant of God, they won't be sent to hell due to the ignorance of the Trinity or some other theological issue. They could still go to hell over other moral failings.
Is that true, Jeremiah? Did you misspeak?
Oh wait, what did you say? Oh wait, you're talking to me?
Yeah, Jeremiah, are you just saying that if somebody was ignorant of God, they would not be sent to hell due to their ignorance of God, but they could still go to hell over other issues?
That's not. I mean, no. I don't agree with that.
Okay, well, that's the Christian view.
To that, I actually got something else. So in the Bible, right? I don't remember which verse it is, but there was a time when people were getting punished for doing stuff with other religions.
Mm-hmm.
For the people who never heard of
Deuteronomy
Christianity,
13:6.
why should they go to hell? For the people who never heard of Christianity but followed the other religions.
Okay, when it comes to that, God judges those people in a different way. We can't.
Isn't that religious discrimination?
Yeah, God is definitely Yahweh, the God of the Trinity, is very religiously discriminate. Let's just put that out there.
But I've got a question.
I don't know if any of us are debating that one.
So does this mean that God is not all good?
No.
Well, that's not it.
I mean, God commits like several of the 7 deadly sins.
Oh, great! I'd love to hear this one. What's up?
Okay.
All right, just based on that sentence, I can tell you.
Okay, when did God commit one of the 7 deadly sins?
So gluttony, for one.
How did he do that?
When was he gluttonous?
So, would you consider coveting something that somebody else has, or keeping a lot of things for yourself that you don't necessarily need as gluttony?
Having possessions that you don't need is not gluttony. No.
Okay, so would that be greed?
No, I wouldn't say it's. I would not say it's necessarily greed to own things that you do not need.
Wait. So
Depending
you're
on the
saying
situation,
that
it might be,
keeping
but it's not.
possessions for things that you don't need. So, for example, a bountiful amount of money, you're keeping it for yourself. So therefore, you are keeping it away from others. That's not greed.
Do you know what gluttony means?
No.
It's a
I'm
genuine
asking
question.
I think you just don't maybe know what greed is or gluttony is.
Okay, hold on, man. So you say that greed is not getting a bunch of things that you don't need, so therefore it is withholding it from people who do need it.
And what are the bunch of things?
For instance, being rich is not a sin. So what you're saying would make it necessarily true that if you are rich, you're living in sin.
Hold on. Okay. Then what is being greedy?
It's a matter of the heart. I mean, if you love money, that's greed. If you just have money, that's not necessarily greed.
Okay, so if you love money, you would, hoard it, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay,
that doesn't mean
so wouldn't that be keeping it from people
having
who
money
need
is
it?
always greed, though.
No,
That's the mistake you're making.
Small actually was describing what greed is. It's not about having a lot of money. It's taking unky items that are not necessary to you and withholding it from other people.
I don't understand the point you're making. You're saying because God has many possessions that makes him greedy. That's nonsense.
No, it's not having. It's taking it.
So I can read. I can
God
read
take
like
something that's already his. That's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense.
Literally.
Can I read the Oxford definition of greed and then?
Yes, you can.
Intense and selfish desire for something, especially wealth, power, or food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so guys, you can't make the mistake of taking a word that's in the Bible that would have originally been written down in Hebrew or Greek and then look up an Oxford dictionary definition and make that synonymous. You have to realize that there's going to be.
So what would you describe as greed then, Sage? I asked you.
I just did. The Christian view of greed is going to be a heart issue. If you love money and love your possessions and your materialism, that would be greed. That would be let's talk about the definition of sin, right?
Okay, then I'm trying
You're missing the mark that God set. So
I'm trying to explain it, okay? So you say that this person loves money, right? So would that person
Who loves money?
and therefore
You're talking about God. You're saying God loves money?
I'm trying to explain greed.
Go to a church and then find out if God loves money.
You're trying to make a case that God is greedy. I'm still waiting on that.
Look, again,
Doesn't God ask for money at every church service?
Please stop.
Y'all get the point of.
I can't deal with.
All right, so hold on. Sorry, I interrupted you. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, Sage. Again, I'm trying to set a baseline so I then can therefore.
I know it's fallacious from the beginning. Your argument falls apart at the first premise.
Okay. What?
But you're just wrong. The first premise you're trying to make is that greed is having a lot of money, and it's immediately wrong. So whatever conclusion you have to come up with is
that is not what I said. That is not what I said.
Okay.
What I said was that if somebody, this is me asking you a question. This was not me saying anything.
I already answered your question. You can ask it again.
I was asking you a question. So, no, let me ask it again then.
Okay.
So, if somebody were to be greedy, would the symptom, let's just say it this way, would the symptom of being greedy be therefore withholding or hoarding a certain amount of something? It be money, it be food, it be housing, possessions, I don't give a shit. Something that you do not necessarily need. So therefore you are taking from other people because you are
That's a non sequitur.
Love with
So
this.
the answer is yes, but it doesn't go backwards.
That's a non sequitur. Okay, exactly. It doesn't go backwards. Just because you have possessions doesn't mean that you're greedy.
So it is okay.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I just let you go on a monologue. Hold on. So it also is it does not follow that because you have possessions, that means you are taking from other people. It doesn't follow.
That's what I literally just said. If you are taking things or withholding something from somebody, what do you think the definition of withholding something is?
Refusing to give it to others.
Okay. So would you, consider that, taking or withholding something?
No, I wouldn't say withholding something is the same thing as taking something.
So say that you gave me money.
When are you going to get to the part where God is greedy or he's covetous? When are you going to get to that part?
So so you said he's covetous, right? Is he jealous?
No, you said that.
Okay. No, okay.
Yes, he's a jealous God. Very much.
So God is covetous. Yes, he's jealous. What's the definition of... Hold on, Nana. Hold on. What is the definition of love?
Okay, let's just start here. Okay, so when God's
I'm trying to get to a point.
I know it's fallacious. Let me explain it. I'm happy to explain it. So when God says like thou shalt not murder, right? Okay, he's saying that that's a command unto people, unto human beings. We're not supposed to murder each other.
What is the biblical definition of love?
Now,
I'm not letting you skip me on past this. What is the biblical definition of love?
You're making a fundamental mistake, and I'm explaining it to you. I'm not making a mistake. God tells
Please
us
continue.
This is so painful.
No,
oh my God.
Answer my question. What is the definition, the biblical definition of love? What does God say that love is? He describes it in multiple different words. What are those words?
Please tell us. I'm begging you.
Love is not boastful. Love is not jealous. Love is not covetous.
Ooh. And what
love
verse
is kind. Donna,
give me the verse.
Stop.
Right, give us the verse. You need to provide the verse. Provide the verse if you're going.
How do you not know the verse?
Baby, I know the verse.
Are you Christian?
Hey, I got the verse tattooed on me. I'll read it right now.
1 Corinthians 13, 4-8.
I'll read it right now.
Okay, cool. So you
Where
do
does it
know the
say
verse.
jealous
So
and
why
all that?
ask? So
Wait,
love is
you really
not
got the verse
boastful.
tattooed on you, bro?
Okay, guys, can you please stop? I'm trying to get to a point. Love is not boastful.
let someone read
love
the
is
verse.
not jealous. Love is kind. Love is patient. So love is not jealous.
What verse is
Where
it?
does it say jealous at? Let us know.
What verse is it?
It's
1 Corinthians 13, 4.
Well, yo, shorty is shying.
You have that verse tattooed on you? Jeremiah, you can read it?
No, that was a joke.
Oh.
It's just like, what do you call it? I don't
It
know.
probably depends on which version
This is so
you're reading.
painful. Okay, so I'm just going to finish the point I was making before.
Real quick,
So
You're not going to finish because I have evidence.
Love is patient.
Right here.
I'm reading from
Skits.
the...
Please, can you put me up
ERV.
so I can actually have them see this verse? So they
What
can no
version is
longer deny that it says. What does that say? I'm done with you. Sage, what does that say?
Ooh, like, girl, please.
What does it say? No, you lied. What does it say?
No, I think that's just like a more of a version of the Bible.
No, what does it...
But
Okay,
I think
what are you
the
trying to
semantics.
prove?
No, the semantics of the word as they described it back then, I don't think it's going to correlate to the definition of jealous you're trying to give us right now.
Okay, so
It is.
so read it.
okay.
Read it.
Everyone can read it for themselves. I'm now going to make the point I was trying to make 2
Okay,
minutes
so
ago because
love
it
is
makes me look
patient.
foolish.
No.
Look.
Love is
For the-
patient
oh my gosh.
and kind. Love is not
jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It doesn't matter its own way. It's not irritable.
It does not
Keeps no
depend.
record of being wronged. Listen.
It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of
You've been
being
hogging
wrong.
the podium.
It does
this
not
entire
rejoice about
time.
injustice.
You are not interested
but
in actually having a
rejoices,
conversation.
But you lied
You're not interested in having a conversation. All you want to do is go on a
because you
monologue.
lied. You lied to me.
When did I lie? When did I lie?
You said that it does not say that it says jealous, but it does.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. You're imagining that I said that. I
Okay,
literally
so
not
did
say
Nana say it?
that. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so
Listen,
Nana then lied.
listen.
So
If-
again,
when
I'm getting
God-
to a point.
Can someone please mute her?
Sage,
Oh my
I'm
god!
getting
Can
to a
someone else
point.
make a point?
Please hush.
Say, just let her finish and then eat her up. That's it.
No,
just let her finish.
Please.
He's been on
No,
a
'cause he
monologue
knows
for
what's
10
coming.
minutes. This is
He knows what's
unwanted
coming.
debate. This is like
look,
you're preaching.
Small
You're not gonna
potato.
be quiet, but
Small potato. Just get to the point, and then we'll let Sage go.
Thank you. Please. Okay, so God is then told to be jealous. So therefore, he is not love if he can be jealous or keep a record of wrongdoings. He cannot be love if he therefore does not fit his own definition of love. Thank you.
You woke up
Okay.
this morning and let me
All right, let's Sage
go.
respond. Let's Sage respond.
So, small potato. When do you agree that God says, "Thou shalt not murder"?
Does he do what he says?
Do you? I just asked you a yes or no question.
He says, thou shalt not unalive. He doesn't say, thou shalt not murder.
He does say it actually.
No, he
Thou
doesn't.
shalt not murder. Yes, it is.
He does.
Okay. So God says, "Thou shalt not murder," right? And when the government has somebody on death row because they're a mass rapist, is that murder? Is it killing? What is it?
Just say the K word. You're gonna get
It really, Sage. It really
Okay,
depends on how
unalive.
you
My
define.
fault.
It really depends on how you define schmurder, right? So if it's
Like unjustified.
unjustified unaliving, then death row wouldn't be schmurder.
Okay. This is the point that I'm making, right? Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
your
if
point
it says,
is going
"Thou
to be
shalt not,"
do as
if
I
it
say,
says,
not
"Thou
as I
shalt not,"
do, right, Sage?
If it
It's gonna be
says,
do as I say, not as I do. Is that what you're going to say?
What are you talking
about? God is allowed
Okay.
to. All right, why don't you say your point? I
I'm
was
not
just
gonna.
guessing.
I'm not gonna let you get away with it. Thou shalt not what?
Oh my! No, you already had your monologue. Just relax. Relax.
No, because you keep lying.
I'm not
Thou
lying.
shalt not.
Hold on,
unalive.
let him do the response.
It just
'cause-
depends
Okay,
on.
great.
It just,
Thou shalt not.
depends
Whatever
on
it
which
says, it doesn't
version
even
you're
matter.
reading.
So thou shalt not
Then why
unalive,
did you
right?
change the definition?
Thou shalt not unalive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so but when the government puts somebody down that was a mass rapist, is that a sin?
No, because that's
Are they
self-defense.
failing on that commandment? No. Okay. So there are times when it's allowed, right? And so there's going to be laws where
But we are
interpersonal.
human.
It's
We are not an
interpersonally.
all-powerful God.
Okay. Thank you. You just made my point. God is allowed to smite people, and it's not murder. It's not considered he's sinning. He's allowed to have possessions, and it's not coveting. God's nature is fundamentally different from ours, and when he gives us laws, it's
he's a
interpersonal between two
hypocrite.
people.
wait, hold on. Sage, you mind if I ask you like 2 questions?
I'm just saying that people can have a level of authority that makes it different. And if the government can put somebody on death row and unalive them, and that's not a sin, then God is ultimately authoritative, and he can make these judgments too, and it's not morally
So let me
apprehensible.
let me ask you like 2 questions, okay, Sage, if it's okay with you?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. What does Exodus 20:13 say?
I don't know. Tell me.
Thou shalt not murder, or thou shalt not kill, whatever.
Okay.
What's Leviticus 20:13 say?
I don't know.
Kill gay people.
This is
what is-
actually
I don't-
this
what is-
is-
is that
Walk
what's
your way
different?
out of that one,
You
buckaroo.
think that's a gotcha?
What does it
Wait,
say?
hold on. Do you think that's you really thought that was like a gotcha moment there?
Guys, can I have a second?
I just
I'm
wanted to
laughing
ask
at
you
that.
what it says. That's all.
No, you just proved my point that people in different levels of authority, it doesn't constitute the same thing. So when God's saying thou shalt not murder, if a civil authority puts somebody down, then that's not murder.
Okay,
yeah, but
so
Sage,
hold on,
also,
hold on,
just
hold
wait, can I have a second here? Small, sorry. One
Yes.
thing, I mean, when in Deuteronomy, when we see that God's like, hey, if someone tries to draw you away from me and to another God, you got to stone them, even if they're your brother. I don't know how they're a government. But anyway, I'm going to move past that because, Sage, I think that the real problem in your argument is that the description of love isn't a law. It's not like this is how you have to love, but God has to love differently. This is a description of what love is. And if we're going to believe the Bible is true, then we'd have to say that love is intrinsically these things that are described in such a way. And if one of them is don't keep a record of wrongs, and that is what love looks like, and God has a book in heaven which shows what we've done, and some of us are being blotted out, etc., then he isn't showing love. There's no law part to this.
Can I respond?
That the verse in Corinthians is it's a letter to a church of people. He just got done talking about how people are using gifts in a way that's unloving to one another. When he's defining love, it's Paul defining love.
So it doesn't count for everyone. It's just the
talking about interpersonal.
Wait, Sage, can I answer this one, Sage?
I already answered it. I mean, you're talking about a scripture that's in regards. It is a letter written to a community, and it's Paul talking to people with interpersonal relationships and telling them what love looks like on an interpersonal relationship. And you're totally just ripping it out of its context and saying that God's contradicting himself.
Can I provide context as well, Skits?
I want to know why. I want to know why Sage skirted past Leviticus 20:13.
I didn't skirt past it.
Can you repeat what it was for me?
Wait, I thought can I provide context on the jealousy thing though?
No, I answered Leviticus. I said that the civil authorities are going to do things and it's not considered murder. The civil authorities put somebody down.
Killing gay people is not murder.
If a civil authority gives somebody sentences them to death, that's not murder. No.
So when God says that you should kill gay people, that's not murder.
Never said that. He said to love everyone.
No, Leviticus 20:13 says God in Leviticus 20:13 God commands that gay people be put to death.
You think that a civil authority executing somebody is murder?
Sage, why are you
what crime? What crime
here?
have they committed?
When you're living in Israel, the law was that you would not be homosexual. That was the law.
Right. So
I got a question for you, Sage.
Do you agree with your God? Do you agree with your God when your God says that gay people should be put to death?
In the nation of Israel, you don't understand. This is
do you agree with your God?
Law for the nation of Israel.
Do you agree with your God when your God commands that gay people be put to death?
I don't even understand what you're saying.
Do you agree with your God when your God says that gay people should be put to death?
God doesn't say that gay people should be put to death.
So Leviticus 20:13, God commands that if a man lies with a man as one does with a woman, he shall surely be put to death.
In ancient Israel.
So do you agree with God's command there?
God can do whatever he wants. He's God.
God is God? Oh, that solves it, guys. You hear that? God is God.
No, it's true, Skits.
God is God.
No, God is God, Skits.
Oh, wow. God is God. Now, do you agree with this God when God says gay people should be put to death? Do you agree with your God?
God can do whatever. You're trying to make
Do you agree with your God?
You're appealing to emotionalism, first of all.
Do you agree with your God?
I already told you yes 3 times that he can put whatever laws he wants.
Do you agree with your God?
Yes.
He's saying he does agree.
Said yes 7 times.
So you're a bigot. You think gay people should be put to death.
Skits, you have no objective morality. You're coming from no standpoint.
Jeremiah, prove to me that your Christian morality is objective. Go ahead.
If you want to start the conversation,
go ahead. Prove that your Christian morality is objective.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the jealousy thing. We can go
prove that you made a claim that I don't have objective morality. So I'd like you to demonstrate that your Christian morality is objective. Prove it.
Wait. Do you have objective morality?
I don't. I'm not making any claims. I am not making. You're claiming that your Christian morality is objective. So now demonstrate that.
Are you going to listen?
Yep.
You're going to listen to me explain that Christian morality is objective.
Demonstrate that your Christian morality is objective.
You're not going to care whether I demonstrate it or not.
Is it because you can't prove it? Is that why you don't want to?
I mean, I can, but does your subjective...
Go ahead and prove that you're... Sir, you made a claim. Sir, you made a claim that your Christian morality is objective. Now go ahead and prove it.
If someone proves that to you, that morality is objective, will you... agree
can you just go ahead and prove the claim you made?
Well, I want to ask you beforehand.
Jeremiah, I'll do it.
Can you just go ahead and demonstrate the claim that you made is true?
If you can prove objective morality right now, I will believe in objective morality. If you can prove that there is objective morality, Jeremiah, I will believe in it.
I mean, yeah, I've just believed that, God is all knowing.
I don't care what you believe. Prove it.
That is outlined in the Bible.
Prove that your morality is objectively true.
I mean, I don't really know where to start, honestly.
Because you can't prove it.
Well, hold on. Let me help him. Jeremiah, all you have to do... If you
ask me a question, I can answer it, but I don't exactly...
I'd like you to answer it. I would love for you to answer the question.
Jeremiah, just prove that there is a objective moral law or something. Just give us a law that is objective, so that is a stance independent, mind independent, objective truth that is moral. All you have to do is point to one.
I don't exactly know. Like, I don't have an exact outline list ready to go. I mean,
well, why do you even claim objective morality if you really don't even understand it?
I do understand objective morality.
Okay, see, this is I hate when Christians say, "Well, you're an atheist. You have no morals. You don't have objective morality." Okay, well, really prove that your Christian morality is objective.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, I don't really. I mean, I don't know exactly where to start, but if you ask me a question, I mean, I can.
No, Jeremiah. This is the
I just asked you a question about 10 times.
Yeah. Well, it's a challenge to show objective morality, or show us how Christians have objective morality. The thing is that Christians claim objective morality so that they don't have to deal with the hard stuff in the Bible, and then they can't really show any objective morality. I mean, not only that, their objective morality would be completely horrendous.
I mean, I'll just tell you, the Bible teaches objective morality, and I believe that the Bible is correct. So that's
but that's circular. Now you're saying
that's what I'm saying. I mean,
you're saying
if you want
Jeremiah,
to try to
Jeremiah, you're saying my Christian objective morality is true because of my Christian Bible.
That I believe.
I'm going to go back to
that's circular.
I'm going to go back to an old, the conversation you guys were having when I came in here. So Jeremiah,
if you want to disprove anything in my belief, then you can.
Jeremiah, this is my question. Do you think it's objectively? Let me ask you this question: do you believe it is objectively moral to throw stones at your son until he unalives because he was drinking and gluttonous?
Why does it matter what I believe?
Well, I'm just saying, do you believe it's
you made the claim
moral?
that your morals were objective.
What was the question?
Do you believe it's objectively moral to throw stones at your child until they unalive because they disobeyed?
And based on my answer, you're going to try to provide that's analogous to the Bible?
Well, it is in the Bible. So if a few times in Deuteronomy, it might be 21 or something like that, there's a hint at it.
Deuteronomy 13:6 says you should stone your children to death if they don't worship the Christian God.
Yeah, that's that one. Then there's Exodus 21, and then Jesus double downs in Mark.
Is that objectively moral? God says it's morally permissible to stone. He commands it, in fact. He commands you to stone your family members, your wife, your husband, your brothers, your own children, if you find out that they're worshiping other gods.
Jesus also doubled down on this.
Thing.
Yeah, it is Jeremiah.
This is what your God says is morally permissible.
To old Israel.
Jeremiah, listen.
All of a sudden, you don't like your God's objective morality now.
Yeah, so you're claiming objective morality, Jeremiah. You're claiming objective morality, and you're saying that I just believe that the Bible has objective morality. So now we're pointing to a biblical law, which would be morality. It would be a law I assume that's how we learn about morality, and you don't like it, and I don't like it. Nobody likes it. But all of a sudden, this objective morality goes out the window.
Well, what do you mean?
Well,
but that's not objective morality. That's not something.
It has to be. What's objective morality then? Where do we find that in the Bible?
What do you mean? Where do we find that in the Bible?
You say the Bible has objective
morality.
Where the fuck is it?
He's the moral lawgiver.
Where is the moral law? How do we access it?
So if he's a moral lawgiver,
the Bible, it's not like.
If God is an objective moral lawgiver, one of these laws that he gives is that you stone your family to death if you find out they're worshiping other gods. Now, if you say that your Christian morality is objective, that means that you think that that's a good thing, that's objectively good.
That wasn't an objective moral law given to all people.
So then you don't. So then you don't have objective morality from God?
How does that correlate?
Yeah, Jeremiah,
you're being so disingenuous right now. You're
like disingenuous, or you're stupid.
You're literally given as a moral absolute law to
you're bending so far over backwards. You're literally sticking your foot in your own pocket.
Yeah, your foot is literally in your pocket right now. Listen, I've never heard that phrase before.
You are folding like a lawn chair, my guy.
Okay, Jeremiah, listen. God says, or the Bible says in Psalms 119, verse 160 and 149, that God's law is righteous and eternal. Okay? I don't know what is righteous if not moral. I think those are synonymous, more or less, right? So, and eternal. Keep in mind, he says eternal. We're talking about these laws that involve stoning of sons, or it says sons, of someone's parents. If they curse their parents, if they try to pull them away from God, if they disobey them, all those things. And then Jesus actually confirms this law in Mark 7 when he talks to the Pharisees. He goes, you guys aren't even unaliving these kids anymore. You got to be following this law. So this is, if nothing else, a moral law handed down by Yahweh and confirmed by his son Jesus Christ. And for some reason, you don't see this as objective morality?
Jeremiah, you know what this looks like? This makes God nothing more than a narcissist. He expects people to praise him. He expects people to do all this stuff for him. If you don't praise this, then you're going to go to hell, right?
But Jeremiah,
that is nothing more than a narcissist.
If that's not objective morality, Jeremiah, where can we find it? That's what I'm asking.
Objective morality, the idea of it's taught throughout the Bible. It's not like a verse that says like.
Do you understand what objective morality means?
Yes.
Like, what does objective morality mean? You tell me.
It's morality without the influence of human thoughts or behaviors.
Right. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to figure out how we access this objective morality, which exists beyond our minds.
So,
and you have no answer.
So you're saying there is no objective morality and it's subjective? That's your belief?
Yeah.
So if I were to say
don't turn it around on me,
these people should be killed, then where's your basis for establishing that that's wrong? It's just based on personal opinion.
Yeah, it's 100% going to be my personal opinion, and we're all going to share our personal opinions, and we're going to come together to try to determine what the best thing to do is, and what we can.
So your personal opinion is that you agree with this, and mine's that I agree with that. Why does the conversation continue in your world belief?
Because this all we have is us. So what I can prove to you is that all we have is a collection of human beings all discussing things and trying to understand what is the best course of action for our societies. And you're claiming some sort of morality that's objective, that exists from a God that you cannot prove. So I don't care about your claim. All I have is my subjective morality and the conversations we can have to try to figure things out together. And if you can't prove something else or access to an objective morality, then there's no reason to claim it.
So I want to ask you, Jeremiah, the same thing that I asked Sage. Do you agree with your God when your God says that gay people should be put to death?
Why God didn't say that?
In Leviticus 20:13.
Yes, he did.
He's saying that they should always be put to death.
He says if a man lies with a man as one does with a woman, they have committed a sin, they shall surely be put to death.
And based on your knowledge of the Bible, that extends to today.
I just want to know if you agree with your God.
Why would I disagree? What do you mean?
So you think gay people should be put to death?
That was a commandment given to ancient Israel.
Yeah. Do you agree with your God?
Do God's morals ever change? Let me just cut to the chase.
That's an objective moral command, by the way.
So okay, let me ask you this: if something is eternal, and it's
like
given
God's
as an
law.
eternal law that it will end at one point, and that's established.
Well, that's not what eternal means, right?
That's not the definition of eternal.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, if something's infinite, then how does it begin and end?
Everything he says never changes.
Your God never changes.
But if he says something and then also says this is when it will end or something along those lines,
then that's a contradiction. He is contradicting
or
himself.
Deviating. It's not a contradiction.
It is a contradiction.
Your God never changes. Your God's morality. Your God's morality never changes.
So, all right, if I say, okay, let's say I never lie, right? And I say, all right, I am going to go to school until 3 o'clock. That's what I say out of my mouth. And I go to school, and then at 4 o'clock, someone says, hey, you just said you're always going to be at school. You just lied. And I said, I didn't lie because I established that. You following me what I'm saying?
I don't even know what this analogy is.
Huh?
I'm saying that the decree given to ancient Israel doesn't apply today.
Your metaphor didn't work.
Then you disagree with Jesus, because Jesus says every old law should be obeyed until the heaven and the earth are gone. And in fact, the person who doesn't obey the old laws will be the least important person in the kingdom of heaven.
He wasn't referring to. There's ceremonial laws. He wasn't referring to.
There actually, if you actually study the ancient Jewish traditions, there is no distinction between the ceremonial and the ceremonial laws with everything else. There's no distinction.
There's moral laws, there's ceremonial laws, and there's civil laws.
Okay, one of these moral laws is that homosexuality is immoral, so God commanded it to be put to death.
That wasn't a moral law. That was a civil law.
So does God think that homosexuality is moral?
That was my bad. That was a ceremonial law. My bad.
No, it wasn't.
It's a moral law.
It's a Levitical law. But listen, Jeremiah, this is what I'd love, and Oblivion has touched on it. Why don't you find the verse in the Bible that illustrates which laws are which laws? Because this is a made-up thing. It's made-up nonsense that I don't know where it came from. But there's nowhere in the Bible you're going to find God's like, and by the way, the Ten Commandments are the moral law, and this is the civil law. Like, that just doesn't exist. So unless you can find a verse that tells us which laws are which, then...
I don't have that on top of my head, but
you don't have it in the Bible.
We got to live by a certain standard, or else we're all going to unalive each other. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're arguing that I have no basis to make my claim, but you don't.
No, you made the claim. You made the claim that you have that your Christian morality is objective.
I know, and you're arguing that I have no basis.
You failed to demonstrate that. You failed to demonstrate that.
And you're arguing that I have no basis for that claim. But
I didn't make any claims.
In your own worldview, you also have no basis for any morality either.
Yes, we're on an even playing field. We're on an even playing field here,
it's
Jeremiah.
Subjective.
You're the one
it's
claiming
everybody's
something.
opinion.
Yeah.
Kyle, are you a Christian?
The objective morality is taught in the Bible and outlined in the Bible, and I believe the Bible is 100% correct. So
the question that we asked since the beginning is where.
What do you mean where? It's throughout the Bible.
But
where?
You can't point to one
that's
piece
circular.
Of that.
That's circular.
So unaliving children
laws
is
are taught
moral.
throughout the Bible. I mean, do you want to go through every single one? You know what I mean? Like,
give us one.
So is unaliving children moral?
A moral law: Thou shalt not murder.
But then he commands. But then he commands gay people to be murdered.
He commands children
That's what
to be
the guy who was up here
unalived.
earlier was talking about. There's a difference between murder and then the K word.
So if you kill a gay person, that's not murder.
Under what context? There's a difference between murder
you see a gay person, and God says, "Hey, kill him because he's gay." Is that murder?
Why would God say, "Hey, kill that person"?
Because
that's what the Bible says. God says.
That's what the Bible says.
Then no.
Like Jeremiah, he literally says in that verse where it says it's okay to unalive people who are gay is because it's an abomination.
Then no, it's not murder in that scenario.
Look how it says, "Go out your way."
Guys, there's your Christian morality. There's your objective Christian morality, guys. He said it's not murder to kill gay people.
And that morality is wrong, Skits?
Yes.
Yes, it's wrong to kill people for
basis
their
for
sexual
that?
preferences.
Because they are people that didn't do anything to
What's
you.
wrong with two consenting adults loving each other?
Why is that wrong? Why is that wrong?
Why is it wrong to kill two consenting adults for loving each other?
Or even just one.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah,
because they didn't do anything. That's why
you
it's
think
not
it's
moral.
the only
Why is it wrong to kill someone
the only reason you think it's wrong is because your dusty old book that was written by 3,000-year-old goat herders who didn't know where the sun goes at night says to.
Okay,
this is also put in another case, right? Where if you don't believe in God, then you're going to go to hell and get tortured indefinitely. That's not moral.
Okay, you said it's wrong because they twice. You said it's wrong because they didn't do anything. Why is it wrong to kill someone who didn't do anything?
So Jeremiah,
because it's not justified. It's not justified.
Why is it wrong to kill someone that's not for a reason that's not
bro? Wait, hold on.
Give me a reason why we should kill them. Besides being gay, which is not a valid argument, why should we kill them?
Jeremiah, is it always objectively wrong to grape someone?
What?
Is it always objectively wrong to grape somebody?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Rape somebody.
Oh, yes.
Okay. If somebody saw your mother in a battle and thought she was beautiful and desired her for a wife and captured her and took her to his house and let her cry over her dead parents for 30 days, and then after that he goes into her and makes her his wife, at that point has your mother been raped?
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine so.
Oh, so your God supports this. Your God supports grape in Deuteronomy 21:10-14.
Okay.
Your God says that his soldiers are allowed to capture people in war, and if they see a beautiful woman among the captives, they can take her to his house and let her cry over her dead parents for 30 days, and then he will cut off her clothes, cut off her hair and her nails, and then go into her and make her his wife.
And I'll just go back to the same thing. Why do you think it's wrong?
Why is it wrong to capture a woman and make her your wife?
I'm not saying it's right, but I'm asking you, why do you think it's wrong?
I cannot prove that it's objectively wrong, but it's wrong to me.
So why do you care?
Because it's wrong to me.
Yeah, Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, you would say that this is in fact good because this is what God says is morally permissible.
How would you feel if you were a woman, right, in that situation and that happened to you? You will feel horrible, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that in the Bible. I'd have to read that. I'd have to look into that.
Once you read it, Jeremiah, what you're going to learn is not only...
I think it's incredibly hilarious. I think it's hilarious, laughable, absolute tomfoolery that we are atheists. We don't believe in this God. We don't believe in this religion. Yet we know more about your own book, about your own religion than you do.
Oh no, because most of the time y'all be quoting stuff and don't even know the context to it.
Nana, what's the context
between?
What's the context? I would have to read it and come back to it.
Nana, why are you claiming that we're missing context if you don't know the context?
Because that's why there's atheists in this world nowadays. Y'all don't understand.
Nana, why don't you try to explain it then?
Nana, how do you know we're missing context if you don't know what the context is?
Nana,
if y'all understood what was going on, if y'all read the Bible,
then Nana, explain to me what was going on in that verse, if you know so much.
Then I would have to read it and come back to it.
But Nana, you just claimed Nana, this is what you just did. You just did this. Hey, you're missing context. Oh, really? What's the context? Oh, I don't know.
Exactly. That's what you just
like,
did.
Nana, do you know what that is?
I have to read it and then come back. I don't know what
I can actually tell you the context. I don't have to go back and read it. I can tell you the context because I read the damn thing.
Nana, are you saying that there is justifiable reasoning to killing gay people?
If God, whatever God says goes. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, she said that already. She said that.
Whatever God says goes.
That's why.
This is why we are fighting.
He got that blind face.
This is why, Nana. This is why we are fighting so hard against this book. Is because people like y'all that infirm resistantly and try to nail down that this book is history written and should be followed. You same people are trying to push it into law, and it's becoming a problem for people like me, for people like my friends, for people like my family who are just trying to live their lives outside of this 2,000-year-old book that men wrote.
So really quickly, Kyle, are you a Christian?
I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. There's many different Christians.
Okay. Stephanie, you in the comments, you said that you believe in partial objective morality. Can you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'm an atheist, but I believe that there are certain objective morals that both a large portion of animals and humans kind of follow. And it's a baseline, so there is subjectivity within the definition, but unjustified, non-consensual harm is the basis for basic morality. And the reason for that is based on empathy, which is based on mirror neurons, but because no one wants to be unjustifiably, non-consensually harmed, harm is also subjective because it's harming who? Is it a moral character, but somebody of value, whatever. But because no one wants to be unjustifiably, non-consensually harmed, no one wants to do that to other people. And I heard Kyle earlier state that we would all kill each other or unalive each other if we did not have those. And that concerns me, Kyle. Like,
Okay,
no one really picked up on that.
Can I
But
say
Stephanie, real quick, I would argue against that, especially when you understand the dynamics about certain animals like sea lice.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying all animals. Absolutely not. There's a large portion of animals that don't behave in that way. For example, like bees, even though they're but irrelevant. Yeah, I'm not saying all animals, but there are certain animals or a good portion of animals that I would argue do follow the basic principle of morality.
I love your profile picture, by the way, Stephanie.
Hey, what's up, Nico? How you doing, Nico? Kyle, did you want to respond to what Stephanie said?
What's up? I'm doing all right. I'm not saying that everybody would unalive each other. I'm saying everything would go into chaos.
Kyle, why don't you unalive anyone?
Because I'm definitely not that like that.
Do you think most people are?
No.
No. So it wouldn't go into chaos. Sorry, go ahead.
Kyle, I got a question for you. So, do you believe that animals, like tigers and all of these animals who eat other animals, do you think that they have a moral compass?
Well, they're beasts. Us as humans are more intelligent and we're more capable. I mean, you're talking about the animal kingdom.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that they can make other animals suffer, right? And nobody likes to suffer in anything.
Well, it depends on how you define suffer.
Hold on, give me a second.
If something positive comes from suffering, is it suffering?
And that's why I say unjustifiable.
I would separate
Yes, it would still be
necessary and
suffering.
unnecessary suffering. So, like, necessary
Also,
suffering.
on top of that, like how you do realize humans are part of the animal kingdom. You know that, right?
So, like,
yes.
So, like, unnecessary suffering, let's just say that you need to take your child to the doctor. Your child, you don't want your child to get the flu because your child has a immune system disorder. So them getting that shot is a necessary suffering. It's going to hurt for a little while. They're probably going to cry. They're probably going to be scared. But that necessary suffering will then help, if not stop, the unnecessary suffering that would be caused to that child with an autoimmune disorder if they were to get the flu. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was asking Kyle, but thank you twice. I very much appreciate it.
All right. Can you re-ask your question? I'm sorry.
Okay, so unnecessary suffering, right? So I would describe necessary suffering. Excuse me. I would describe necessary suffering. Let's say that you have a child that has an autoimmune disorder. That child, if that child were to get the flu, that child may unalive due to the autoimmune disorder. A flu can be devastating for that child. So if you go to the doctor and give your child a shot, now the shot may, hurt a little bit. The child may be scared. The child may cry. But that is a necessary suffering to delay, if not prevent, the unnecessary suffering that would be caused by the flu if you were to not give them that shot.
Right.
So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, to give your baby a shot would be, to help it would be common sense. I mean...
Yeah, that would be necessary suffering. Does it cause suffering? Sometimes, yes. It can cause the child distress. It can cause the child to be afraid of needles in the future. I don't know. But it's a necessary thing. Now, unnecessary would be childhood cancer. That's unnecessary. Because there's no good thing that comes out of a child suffering from cancer. I'm just going to say it outright. Or essaying a child. Nothing good comes out of essaying a child. That's unnecessary.
All right, I'm back. So what I was trying to say earlier, right, is that there is a lot of unnecessary suffering in the Earth Kingdom, and if God is really all powerful and he can just make things with a snap of a finger, why would he make things so bad? Like why would he make these animals and these people have the ability to suffer so much?
Well, my belief is, man, this, I don't know if this is in the Bible or not. Sometimes you just got to put down your shield and go with your sword. You know what I mean? But what I believe in is that this life is a test. And if you can pass the test, then you can have eternal life.
But isn't God all knowing?
But I feel biblically that doesn't make sense, because biblically, like, God already knows what you're going to do. He has predestined you for great things or for destruction. He is the potter, you're the clay. God, to say that this is like a test doesn't seem to really make sense. It's not compatible with a God that planned the world and says that he made you and knows what he made you for.
I guess
and if all goes God's will and not your will, then
the big question is,
God willed a world where you exist, where all this unnecessary suffering also exists. Things like the childhood cancer, but things also like what Tice is talking about. Even when, if you're saying that animals are beasts and that, morality for them doesn't exist or whatever the case is, then why do we see so much unnecessary suffering happening? Why do we see, animals not just go and eat others for food? Why do we see like killer whales go and actually literally terrorize other animals and for seemingly no reason just torture them? Why do we see animals growing in such ways where like their own horns will curl back and pierce their own brains? It seems that God is causing all of these things happening in the animal kingdom as well that are just so unnecessary and cause so much suffering that doesn't need to happen. And I don't see how in any way, in your view, that's a test, quote unquote, for us.
And this also doesn't explain why we feel so much pain and why we suffer so much. I mean, like, a person can be suffering so much that he loses his consciousness and just becomes a jumble mess.
Hey, Sir Davos, are you a believer or a non-believer?
Believer. Hey, everyone.
Okay, cool. I was just trying to make sure. I think we got Kyle and Sir Davos and Stephanie, you said you're an atheist?
Yeah, I am. I can drop, though.
Well, I don't have any guest requests, so you can... Well, yeah, actually, I got two. Yeah, I got two guest requests.
Hey, everyone.
All right, thank you for having me up.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Hello.
I'm trying to get it balanced here, so we can get kind of get it more.
Yeah, just let me know when I can talk. That's fine.
You could talk right now. You can answer what we
were just discussing.
About, actually.
Okay. When I joined in, I heard about the animals, right? Like the suffering.
Yeah, unnecessary suffering.
Got it. All right. So look, believer doesn't mean I have the answers, right? But this is my belief. What I try to do is I try to read the Bible and I try to understand it. And of course, there's questions that are left to be unanswered, but that's part of belief. So in regards to why do animals suffer and why do people suffer unknowingly, from my understanding of the Bible, and I can give an example once I'm done. From the beginning, you were given a choice, whether that's free will or choice. I don't know, but we were giving a choice, right? You either choose the blessings or you choose the curses. And this was given from the Old Testament. And if you choose the blessings, it's if you choose to follow God. That means you live with God, with his help. If you don't choose God, then you're living apart from him. So he would label the stuff that would happen. In Deuteronomy, there is a section, Deuteronomy 28, verses 3-4. It discusses the blessings of what happens to the people, and not just the people, in regards to what you were saying, the animals too. So if you live with God, following what is good, because God is a God of order, right? Not chaos. So if you follow God's way, he already has a whole list of commandments that are morally right, that we as human beings have also believed to be right. And then it says what those results will be, which is you'll have blessings, your children will grow, your animals will produce, and they'll be healthy. But if you choose to live apart from me, I will let you, because I've given you that free choice. But this is what will happen. So essentially, God is like a father who already understands what everything's going to happen. The way I see God is that someone who gives us free choice, but he already knows what's going to happen. This is not in the Bible. It's what I've seen like that. And I could be completely wrong, but the way I see it is he's someone who knows how everything's going to play out. But nonetheless, because he loves us, he's going to let us choose either to willingly be with him, because that's the perfect way to have love, someone who willfully follows, or to do the opposite thing and learn it the hard way. At the end of the day, you're all going to, find your answer. We're all going to find our answers. So if we learn it the hard way, that's fine. He's giving us an option. Either you choose the blessings, follow my law, or you choose the curses. Don't follow me, and your family will suffer. It's just what it is.
Sir, this doesn't answer my question.
You asked why the animals suffer?
My question.
Like, why do animals suffer? Okay, so
why do everybody suffer? Why do we have the ability to suffer?
The answer from it was in there with all that jumbo. He's basically saying that it's because us as a people are not following the laws of God, and yet if we do follow the laws of God, then God will bless us, including the animals that are living with us in our immediate area.
As you were saying, exactly. So yes, thank you. And I know I'm nervous. Jumbo is going to come out, but that's essentially, and it's really not so much. It's more so. It's the way I see it is like in nature, right? In and of itself, there is nonetheless, we just naturally come up with something that's good and something that's bad. An animal will know when they're about to get killed, it's the most horrendous thing, and they also know when they're having a good time with their family. When their children are born, it's love. So there is.
I mean, that depends on the animal.
Yes, it also depends on the animal. You're right. Insects do it completely different. Some kill their mate. All right, I understand. But again, there's also a hierarchy in nature. Whether we believe it or not, there is a hierarchy. The top stay at the top, bottom stay at the bottom. Thankfully, we are. In general, we're at the top, and that's also a blessing from God, essentially, whether you believe it or not.
So, Davos, can I ask you?
So,
yes. have you read the entire Bible yet? Because you said that what you're saying, you don't know if it's biblical, but it's what you believe.
Yes,
have you read the Bible?
I have read the Bible. When I said that I don't know if it's biblical, I'm talking about the idea that God is giving us free will. He just knows the answer, because that's one of the most complicated ones.
That's definitely not biblical.
Well, I want to cut in real quick, right? Listen. I want to cut in real quick. So I have a church that's near me, right? And this church is a black church that got shot up by a racist white person. Why didn't they have the blessing or any type of divine protection, as what you were just saying?
Okay.
Why did they have to suffer?
Okay, so and what happened to them again?
They got shut up.
They got shut up, as in
shot.
Okay, got it. All right. Okay.
I just don't want to say for real.
No, you're fine. Look, so again, everything is context, right? Not everything is black and white, but essentially, every person who says they're a believer, right? There's people that want to follow God and want to do things from their heart. Just like there's people who don't believe in God, but they have morals and they want to do what's good. However, there's also in life, there are leaders and then there's followers. The issue is the leaders. It's the leaders who, in the whole Bible, the situation and the issue with the Bible is not on the poor people. It's not on those who are brokenhearted. It's not on the orphans who are fatherless. It's not on the widows. It's on the elders, the leaders, the kings. They're the ones who were able to get all this power, all this leadership, and it went in over their heads. They forgot who was the one who blessed them. So why does that happen in a church? It usually comes down to the leader of the church. If the leader of the church is leading a church, but he does it out of pride, money, his own.
Wait.
Yes.
Twice. If I'm referencing the same story you're saying, the leader of the church was actually unalived in that shooting, right?
He was unalived in that shooting.
Actually, I'm not actually sure if they were unalived.
I think he was. You're talking about the Charleston shooting?
So I don't know this story.
The leader of the church was actually unalived during that shooting.
Okay, and
so what you're saying is, are you saying that God? Are you saying that it was his fault and that his congregation paid along with him?
No. What I'm saying is
that literally sounds like you're just victim blaming.
We don't know the answer to that, man.
What I'm trying to say is, again, there is no understanding, but if the way that you are bringing it up is, from my understanding, is this is a church. They say they believe in God, so they're a God grace church. That's not necessarily.
You're blaming the pastor and his congregation.
Victim
not
blaming
the congregation, because in the Bible, in the Bible, has everyone's read the Bible here, right?
Yeah, I read it twice.
Okay, so you know, the Old Testament, the issue is the whole Israel is suffering, correct?
Yeah, they were slaves for 400 years.
Yes, but not just that. Even when they were.
But wait. What are you're pivoting? Like, you just literally blamed the pastor.
So I'm going to get back to the pastor.
Twice asked you, why did God not save this church?
Because
you essentially said
he wasn't in the church. Essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Yes.
Who wasn't in the church?
God. He was not manifesting in that church.
Why was God not in his house?
Because you can't just call God's name. You can't look. The New Testament speaks of false prophets, and I'm not going to say.
Isn't God everywhere?
Yes, he is everywhere. That's
so. But you said God wasn't there.
And God was everywhere when Israel suffered, but he did not help them.
Preach mode.
Okay.
But you said, listen. You said that they have.
Very clearly, let's see. Are you saying that the reason why this person was allowed to go into this building of worship and hurt many people there in permanent ways
any protection
is because God did not recognize that church as worthy enough to protect because they were false Christians or false teachers?
So I will say no.
It's
right?
a yes or no.
And then so no. And to explain to why I say no, because you're going to say, then why am I saying what I'm saying? No, because God, so the person who wanted to do that person did that from their own intention. And that's a horrible thing, right? No one deserved to die.
That's fine, but why didn't God stop him? Why didn't God protect the church?
Right.
Okay.
You said that they have divine protection.
I'll tell you why. So when people want to do something bad, God decides whether he wants to intervene or not, right? That's the idea. Okay, so why didn't he protect them? So it could be for many reasons. It could be to teach people a lesson. It could be because these people didn't receive his grace, because at the end of the day, the people, not all of them, there are people who genuinely want to follow God, especially the children, right? They have no idea. They're innocent. But because of the parents, and this is what you see in the Bible, and it's not whether we can understand why God thinks this way, but it is what's in the Bible. Children died, people died, but it was because of the evil of the leaders, and God had to basically teach them essentially as a father. What now? Did he control this whole situation? No, I would not say that. But no, he didn't protect them because they weren't truly following him. Who? I don't know who, but that's just the way I see it.
So you are. No. You started off by saying no to the question.
Yes.
And then you explained how at the end of the day, they were not protected because they were not following God correctly. So really it's yes. You're just saying no because you know it sounds terrible to actually say yes.
It's more so in the sense that there's two sides. And
you said it was God teaching them a lesson?
So we're okay.
What lesson
could
possibly be okay to use infanticide and child death as a justification to teach it?
Could the lesson be that God hates them? Also, Davos, is one of the options that God doesn't exist, and that's why he didn't protect them by any chance?
No,
is that
not in my belief. And I would like to get to the bullet points, but just
it's many options, but not that one.
Yes, as in, no, I mean, you can ask yourself that question. That's a very valid question to ask. And look, guys, to be straight, I don't expect any of you to believe in a God that you haven't experienced. And that's the truth, right? If you haven't had God experience in your life, if he hasn't manifested in your life, there's no way to believe in him. Like, why would you listen to something that you...
Then there's no valid... Then there's no reasonable reason to actually think that it's true. Like,
I understand.
Cool story.
So let me give you a little bit of context. I agree.
But if you want to say that this is a true fact of reality, then you need to be able to demonstrate it in some kind of way. And you're saying you can't.
You're right. I agree. So there's two sides of it. There's the side of my experience, and I'll get to that part in a second if that means anything to you guys. And two, the world in general, right? So what I'm trying to say is the reason the whole lesson trying to be learned is that whether you guys believe this or not, we believe it's not just a God. There's also another side. There's a side of order and there's the side of corruption. And in corruption is essentially where the enemy is, the oppressor, Satan, Lucifer, or you can call him the devil. These are names that mankind has given them, but in reality, it's not The name means nothing. It's just the balance of order and chaos. And the lesson is, if you follow chaos, you will live in chaos. The chaos is
what about
shooting people up. That's
what about
horrendous.
the people? What about the people who commit violence because they say they experienced God and that God commanded them to do it?
That's baloney.
But they could say that about you.
Yes,
they could,
I agree. But
let's go back to the other topic too about how God,
no,
the Bible says that's okay to kill gay people.
That's horrible. You should never want to do that.
So you disagree with your God?
Disagree with what?
You said that was horrible when God commanded that. So you disagree with your God?
Okay, so let me get to this point. So the Old Testament.
Wait. Do you disagree with your God when God commanded?
No, I don't disagree, but I'll tell you why. But listen, guys, this is important. This is important. Earlier, you guys were talking about stoning someone, right? I'm going to put myself on the spot. How that was a law in the Old Testament, correct? And the question is,
stoning your kids for not being obedient.
And then another one that you just brought up is in regards to being gay. I understand. Okay.
But just to be very clear, Davos, before you go on, the stoning of the children or your
adultery. People.
No, the stoning of your children is reiterated by Jesus in the New Testament. So that's not just some Old Testament thing that.
And how is it reiterated? Can you remind me, please?
Jesus talks to the Pharisees. He goes, "You guys are letting these people get away with not stoning their kids when they're disobedient. You guys got to be following the law a little bit." Look at Mark 7. You can see the story there.
Mark 7.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
Well, to all the atheists, if God does exist, right? Wouldn't you, as a God, wouldn't you be upset that, like, the people that you created, some people that you created, don't even give you a chance?
I would, if I was a god, I would be so above feeling so petty about that, it would not matter. Like, I think that it is so childish and immature for a god to make a creation and then be like, oh my God, they don't like me.
Well, that's
my idea of a god would not even desire to be worshipped.
That's a physical way.
I think wanting to be worshipped is narcissistic.
It is. It's extremely especially demanding it and giving punishments if you don't. Because Sir Dapos brought up a chapter, Deuteronomy 28, where he talked about the blessings of God, but then said, "Oh, but bad stuff will happen if you." Do you know that the bad stuff that'll happen if you don't is like 3 times as long as the quote-unquote good stuff, and God is the one doing these horrible things to them, including what you called morally good. You're making them starve to the point where they eat their own children.
Yeah,
having their fiancés be taken by other men, selling them as slaves back to Egypt. So terrible, so tortured and broken that no one's even going to see.
Well, you agree with all that.
You're talking about you think that is good.
So
these are God's curses that He is going to give to His people if they do not obey Him. This is a threat from God to His people because He is demanding worship. He is demanding obedience, and if you don't, He will you up.
Okay, so
I actually want to throw this in here just before you guys answer.
Of course.
I just want to throw in there that in Numbers 23 it says God is not human, so He does not change. It also says in Psalms that God's law is, and what atheistic preacher is talking about. We've been talking about God's law. God's law is righteous and eternal. Okay, so before you try to pivot and get away with this, you have to know that those verses are there. This is an eternal righteous law.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, here's what I'm trying to bring up. There's the Old Testament and there's the New Testament. There's what's being taught physically to people who don't know about Jesus Christ and how He's working through the Holy Spirit. No one knew about the Holy Spirit. No one knew about the devil. There's no mention of it. Barely. Basically just Satan in the Old Testament. This was hidden and it was uncovered in the New Testament, and there's many connections, hyperlinks going back. Now, why do I say
it's mentioned
this?
in the Old Testament multiple times. It's mentioned in the Torah also. And here's the thing: it's not this evil, malevolent entity that's
just an oppressor.
It's just an adversary.
Exactly. That's the word.
Did you know that Job is the first book?
Yes, he brings up
that was written in the Bible, but that's the first book that was written in chronologically.
It's the oldest one, correct? But it's all hidden. But you guys are connecting dots. This isn't straight up as it was straight up in the New Testament revealed. These people didn't know the devil was doing all this. They had no idea what Leviathan represented. They had no idea who Satan represented. They thought it was just an adversary. They didn't know what they were going up against. It's the story of the Bible. Bible. Now, when they finally find out, that's when people make connections. It's like, okay, these curses aren't really God giving us curses. This is just what's going on in the spiritual sense when we are living with lust, pride, going after our own desires, seeking what we desire and not what our family members or our brother desires, but going after our own intentions and not seeking justice in this world. Because what was going on is Israel was not living alone. You had other cities, other nations living around, nations that were pagan for whatever reason, that lived in lust, that had sacrifices, child sacrifices in what are these guys? The Canaanites.
If you're going to make the whole child sacrifice thing, the Hebrews were doing the exact same thing.
Yes, because they fell into paganism. They started.
No, they didn't.
Other
because
gods.
God demanded it.
No, God never demanded to.
Yes, He did.
Where?
He demanded the firstborns of everything. He also demanded that
firstborn children.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
you're reading that wrong.
That's like an Exodus 10-ish or something like that.
Why are you That's the wrong interpretation.
No, I'm not talking about the firstborns of Egypt. I'm talking about when he demanded the sacrifice of the firstborns of everything. Also, Numbers 31.
Of animals.
Also, not animals, of everything. He even says the firstborn of your children.
Let me have a look, guys. Hold on. Pause for a second.
Yeah,
let's read Exodus 22, and I'm going to start in 29 because it leads into what Oblivion is talking about. So this is Exodus 22, verse 29. Do not hold back offerings from your granaries or your vats. You must give me the firstborn of your sons. Do the same with your cattle and your sheep. Let them stay with their mothers for 7 days, but give them to me on the 8th day. So what do you think giving them to him means?
Okay, so that means back in the day they had Levites, right? Your firstborn would
this is in
serve.
Exodus. This is
exactly.
They are on the mountain. Right?
Correct. And then that's when he gave him the whole law. He gave him the whole law, and he also gave him the instruction on how they would give offerings to God, including offerings from the Levites, which those were people that had to dedicate many offerings to them.
It's not referencing the Levites. It's literally saying the firstborns of everything.
Okay, so sounds like God commanded child sacrifice.
Well, let me ask you this question.
It's a dedication in the temple.
What does it mean? How do you give a cow?
It's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice in the self that you are giving your child to serve God in the temple.
Do the cattle become Levites who serve in the temple? Or
no,
whatever?
The cattle represented what?
Okay, so we just have the same fucking verse where two totally different things are happening.
Yes,
even
the firstborns.
Quote
yes,
unquote given, and the stipulation that you're making or the change you're doing does not exist in the text there.
What's
so
your
you're
name?
just adding.
What's your name?
Joel, if I can ask you a question, would this not also be referenced with the very beginning of, I believe it's Exodus 13, where God is saying, give me all the firstborn, whatever.
Yeah, it'll be 12. That'll be 12, and you can redeem them with a sheep.
He also commands the same thing in Numbers.
Dude, that's not actual physical take their life sacrifice.
Yes, it is. And also, what do you think? What do you think Jephthah's daughter was doing?
Whose?
Dude, I want to know how. What do I think? I want to know how a bunch of atheists turned into a bunch of Pharisees.
Okay, exactly. So okay, again. So if we follow the story, he says from Genesis, don't follow other nations or else you'll be corrupt. They follow other nations, they start doing things incorrectly. Pagans. Boom. They start actually doing sacrifice.
What you got to look into, Davos, just to be really honest with yourself, is Google did Israelites sacrifice children?
Yes, they did. They did sacrifice.
Yeah, but when we say Israelites, another thing to look up is the word Yahwist. So Israelites that believed in Yahweh, because you're saying that they started following other pagan rituals, blah blah blah.
Yes,
that's not necessarily true. They were sacrificing to their God because they thought that was the right thing to do. That was probably ubiquitous at the time.
So I agree. And who is this? Sorry, I'm so bad at seeing.
You can see the blue. It's me,
Perfect.
Joel.
Thank you, Joel. And you're right. Look, when they came out of when they came out of Egypt, they were all pagans. Every single one of them. They all had pagan traditions.
Yeah, that's a big ass claim.
Do you agree? I mean,
so Sir
Egyptians were.
Davos, if you actually do you want to talk about the internal critique of the Bible or the historicity of the Bible? Because they're two totally different conversations. So if we want to talk,
hey guys, I have to get going in about 20 minutes. Just to let you guys know.
Okay,
gotcha. We're going to wrap. We're going to try and wrap this up.
So if we're talking about like what went on in the Bible, there's no evidence that there would be a bunch of pagan rituals like at that point in the conversation. Maybe eventually they got bored when Moses was up the mountain and they made a calf or whatever. But true history of the people is that they were never in Egypt. They were Canaanites. They probably separated as their own clan. They probably always did this child sacrifice thing. Those are two totally different conversations.
Okay,
so I don't know if you want to live in the myth world.
If I may, one second.
Yes, after you, yes, of course.
What Bible are you referencing everything from? Is it King James?
King James says it, NIV says it, NLT says it, ESV says it, and if you want to go down to the I'm not done. If you want to really go down this route, which is what I'm referencing the source material, which is the Torah and Tanakh that says it.
I mean, that would be the best way to look at it, right?
And they both say it.
Both say what?
And what about the references from King Solomon?
Yes, and again, these things are symbolic, guys, because look, let me say why.
When he's literally demanding.
Can I say why? Can I say why, man? Can I say why?
You can try, but it's not what the text is.
Okay, so the reason I'm saying this is, let me just collect my thought, all right? So the reason I'm saying this is because when Jesus Christ comes, right, there is a part where he says, and he basically cites back, and he says, just give me 1 second.
How do you determine which verses are symbolic and which ones are literal?
So I'll explain that in this. I mean, you have to read the Bible very closely, and you need to see actual proof.
Like when you say closely, do you mean an inch from my face or 2 inches from my face?
No, in detail and with sincere heart, actually wanting to learn. So
with the Holy Spirit.
Yes, exactly. So I'll get to this. So in the Old Testament,
that's the problem, guys. We don't have the Holy Spirit coming in us.
I'll get to that in a second, guys. So you guys said essentially why it's not symbolic. So in Hosea 6:6, I'm not sure where you guys want to look at it. It says, let me know when you guys are there. Hosea 6:6.
You read it.
I'm almost there.
Okay, I just want to make sure someone is who wants to be there first to be there, so they can fact check.
It doesn't matter. I don't have the Holy Spirit though.
No, let me get to that, bro. It's not like that, and we don't have to go against each other. We can actually learn this.
Go ahead.
This
Go
together.
ahead with the idea.
Okay, so it says, "For I desire mercy, not sacrifice, an acknowledgement of God rather than burnt offerings." So this is essentially trying to explain that all these sacrifices were symbolical to what I really desire, which is mercy and love. So the Old Testament, these laws that had to be fulfilled, they're still being fulfilled, but there's two different things. There's the law of Moses, there's the law of God. The law of Moses gives representation to the law of God. And essentially its core is mercy. So when it says sacrifice for children, it's not actually being children, all right? It's cows, but they represent sacrificing yourself in your spirit.
No, it very clearly specifies the firstborn from man and from beasts. Very clearly.
Yes, no, you're right.
And then on top of that, again, in Numbers 31, when it goes over the dividing up of the captives, literally says this portion of the captives are to be given to God, literally to be sacrificed.
Young virgin girls.
Yep. I would like to ask you about your Hosea 6:6 real quick, though. If it is true that God would prefer mercy as opposed to sacrifice, then why don't we see God do that? Why don't we see in the New Testament him give mercy? Why do we see him give his quote-unquote firstborn son as a sacrifice? That way he can be appeased. And because it seems like even though he says that he prefers mercy, no, he really still wants that blood. He wants that unalivement. He wants that sacrifice. And he's going to, quote unquote, make it the biggest, most important thing ever, because that's the quote unquote only way you could have gotten salvation. So it seems that, Yeah, God can say this, but his own actions don't show it, both in the Old and in the New Testament. So it seems that God is just straight up lying here.
Okay, so here's the case. Back in the day, look, again, there's two sides, and we have to keep looking at this side, not just God, right? We got to talk about God and devil. You just have to. It's the true reality of it. And whatever you want to call it, evil and bad, chaos and order, those two things are going on, and they're very real, okay? And they're going to be active whether you believe or not in life. So essentially what mercy means is to save people from the world. And when I say the world, I mean from lust, desire, hatred, murder. All these things are not qualities of God, essentially. Now, when there's an enemy and it's killing people, those are God's enemies. Those are the people that he wants killed, the enemies of mankind, the people who don't care about one another. And it's a very complex thing, guys. The whole Bible, we can't discuss this right now, but essentially what I'm trying to say is...
Sorry, just to try to get you to the point, Luke, we're talking about ideas that God has come up with for sacrifice and mercy and stuff. This is all on him. Like, he is the ultimate being. He can choose how he wants things done. So the adversary doesn't come into this at all. The adversary isn't in the super. I muted you because you're making noise doing dishes. Stay muted unless you're going to say something. But anyway, so you really have to answer for God's system. That I don't think the devil is really part of that. This conversation.
Okay, so
I apologize about the dishes, but I do have a question on what you were stating about between divinity and devil and all that. If God is such benevolent and a respectful and a loving God, then why did he ask his own people to sacrifice and make pagans eat their own children?
Okay, can you be a little bit more specific? What do you mean he made
with forks?
Okay.
No. In the Old Testament, and I quote, God made his own people kill off pagans because of the fact that they did not worship him.
Okay.
And because of that, they also made them eat their own children as a form of punishment.
That doesn't sound very merciful.
Okay, so again, and this is what I'm trying to say. This is the whole idea of he's trying to paint a picture of what's going on in the spiritual sense, right? In the spiritual sense, there are very evil things going on that do not want life to continue happily, truthfully. So essentially what he's saying is these people, this is corruption. This is cancer for the land. Get rid of these people because these Canaanites, I'm sorry, but this is the truth. And if you guys want to talk about Israel, it's fine. But the Canaanites, they practice child sacrifice. All right. They actually
did the Hebrews.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
just to get really clear, Davos, I just want to nail something down real quick here. Sorry. So when you're saying that this is like, do you believe that this literally happened where God literally had the Hebrews force these people to eat their children? Or this is a story to show how devastating the spiritual realm is in the battle up there? And so we're looking at the story going, oh, this is grotesque. And he's going, well, that's how brutal it is up here, but this never really happened.
Okay, so I like how you're asking these questions. And again, so I would say it's both physical because you need a physical manifestation, and then it's the spiritual.
So it's literal and it actually happened.
If that's how you guys are reading it and that's what it says, and I can see, I mean, I haven't read it myself and I'm not going to look it up because it's going to take time. But essentially what I do know is that the Canaanites, guys, you're saying Hebrews did sacrifices as well, but that's because the Canaanites taught them these things, and the Egyptians, essentially, they were mixed in.
What verse says the Canaanites sacrificed their children?
Okay, so in many verses, when they sacrificed to Moloch,
Just give us one.
I don't know, man, dude. Like you guys are great at finding these verses. I'm sure you can find them.
Then you're making an argument of ignorance.
No, I don't know the exact verses, but it says these people, they would pass their children to the fire. They would sacrifice to the fire to their queen.
So did the Hebrews. The problem is you're trying to.
No, I'm talking about
you're trying to make the correlation that that's what the Canaanites taught the Hebrews when the Bible itself doesn't even give that implication.
Okay, so
they were just already doing it.
History is also found by architecture, and they already did this. They did this investigation. They found that the what are these guys' names? How do I forget the name of?
This is how we know. This is architecture. I mean,
what was that war that happened? Those Punic Wars? Carthage. There we go. Carthage. They're actually descendants from the Canaanites, and they found that
it's Sir Davos. Guess what?
What's up?
So were the Hebrews.
Yes, sir. And this is what I'm trying to talk about, mixing things in. God wanted to separate that. He didn't want the Hebrews to do these things, is what I'm trying to tell you.
He fully enforced it.
Yeah, no, he didn't want them to kill children.
Yes, he did. If he
Sir Davos, I would 100% believe that, except we have the words from God giving the orders that now that he has brought his people out of Egypt and he is establishing their nation and is saying, I want you to be separate from the pagans around you in these kind of ways. He is still saying, give the firstborn to me. He is still saying, do these
and
things.
also your argument that he doesn't,
which means that in his godly nation, these are the things that he desires and wants. And you're saying, no, that's not true. But the Bible itself disagrees with you.
And again, to add on to it, 1 Samuel 15:3, when you said God doesn't want people to unalive children, he literally says, do not let anyone else survive. Unalive all the men, all the children, all the infants, and the suckling. Rip open, and cut open the pregnant women. That's 1 Samuel 15:3.
And who are these people? Yes, but he's talking about another nation because he knows.
He's talking about human beings.
Is null and void.
He's talking about human beings and children.
But look, guys, these are human beings that will do the same exact thing. They're also sacrificing.
But you said God didn't command. You said God didn't command the unalive
God didn't
babies,
command his own people to commit child sacrifice to give to God. God commanded to eradicate.
Hold on. Hey, Skits.
Can I speak, guys? God commanded to eradicate those people who would instill these things as a normal, which you are telling me the Hebrews did. Because
I'm hearing you, but check this out. So we already have showed you that there are verses where God is seemingly saying, you got to sacrifice or give me your firstborns. And we also know where Abraham and Isaac, that he commanded him to sacrifice Isaac, and in later texts he doesn't do it, but in earlier texts, if you read rabbinical writings on this, he does do it. But anyway, the point is that what you might find, the only differentiation between the Canaanites and the Israelites is who they're sacrificing the children to. God isn't interested in the Canaanites sacrificing their children to Moloch or whoever it is, even though that's probably a verb. But he's fine with child sacrifice because he has his people do it. That might be actually what you find. And we can see that there's evidence of that just by God going, hey, I'm mad at these people for child sacrifice, so why don't you go and unalive all their children? Would it really make sense that he cares so much about their children that he wants the Hebrews to go and unalive them all?
Okay, so to answer your question. So Carthage, right? Their main goal, and the Canaanites, what they were really good at is trade. They go trade. They were great at trade because of their dyes, and they instilled their own beliefs into different countries. This was their whole goal, and this is how they traveled. Basically, if you look at it from God's point of view, these people are going around the world instilling the same things, and they always carried their God's wisdom, because although they carried goods, they also carried their beliefs with these paganisms, with child sacrifice and all these things, sexual sacrifices, rituals, all these things, instilling them in every country they would trade in. So if God's seeing this, he's basically seeing it as something that's going to spread to the whole world, where the whole world will have a normality. Now, guys, in the Punic Wars, something that was decided is that if Carthage won over Rome, we would have a completely different world today than we had back then. If Rome didn't win, if the Greeks didn't win, we would have the Carthages, or whatever they're called, rule the whole world and establish their norms, which one
is also
thing,
not true.
Yes,
because
it
you
would.
don't. No, they wouldn't, and you don't know that.
Okay, but we would have a completely different set of history being rewritten.
Real quick, guys. Look, I only have a few minutes left here, and Jacob Johnson says that they in the comments wanted to call me out for something. So,
I've been here since you guys were talking about free will. So I just wanted to say one thing. Do you believe that God is a fraud of some sort when he says things like you've proven God's attributes wrong or right when he says these things?
I don't believe in your God.
Okay, but if it's the God of the Bible, or you don't believe in the God of the Bible, right?
When there's a contradiction in the attributes of God, it kind of disproves that God. Is that what you're asking, Jacob?
Yes. Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Can you be more specific on something that I said? Because I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Well, I noticed that when you guys were talking about how free will is and how like that proves God wrong. If you looked at the idea that God isn't, like, my belief in God, I'm not really Christian or nothing, but is that God is almighty by his attributes and features, and if he decides to endorse the Bible or endorse reasoning, we can't say anything about it. It's just what he wants. You can't say, well, I'm going to question that or I'm going to ask it. It's like when your parents tell you go to your room because you did something wrong, you can't really fight with your parents about it because they're above you. They're like,
but wait, what did you come up here to call me out on? I'm not sure what you're.
And also, on the fact that you believe that God is a fraud, or the Bible is not, like, the ideas of the Bible is not real.
I simply said I'm not convinced that your God's real. That's all I said.
Yeah. So Jacob, you're just basically saying that might makes right, which is
not. Yes,
which
not
sucks.
might. It doesn't mean that it's not a
because
strength.
he's God. Because he's God, he's right. We can't question that. That's what you're saying.
Okay, yeah.
And then what we're saying is that if in the Bible it says that God is good and loving and just, and then we find that there's no free will except people go and burn in hell for eternity and suffer on earth needlessly, then God is not loving, good, or just. And so that character that is described in the Bible doesn't exist. There may be another God, or maybe there's another understanding of the God or something like that, but that God doesn't exist just based on its own definition or description. Does that make sense?
So somebody with almightiness cannot endorse the Bible and be reasonable? Like, he wouldn't be reasonable?
It would be absolutely incoherent. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's illogical.
I see exactly what you mean. Okay, thank
you.
So
that God could do that, but that God would be an idiot in some sense. Tiny Diny Rar.
Guys,
thank you.
So everything we were just saying, the whole idea whether God or not exists, and this is just what I want to explain. Back in the day, there was only the idea was it was only one prophet. He was the one to speak. Everyone would see miracles. They'd see punishments, all these things like pillar of fire, cloud guiding them out of Egypt, the sea opening up, all these things to believe in God. And these things had to be passed down for people to believe, or else they would stop believing. Eventually, they stopped believing. Things started happening. And in reality, I don't expect anyone to believe in a God that is not manifesting. And that's completely positive, to the point where you may even say wholeheartedly, he doesn't exist. I don't believe in your God. However, the thing about the Bible, it's that it leaves evidence that isn't found through architecture, that isn't found through reading through scripture and trying to find the little nuances and the details, but it's actually experiencing it. In Joel 2, and you guys already mentioned the Holy Spirit, so I'm sure you read about this, the pouring out of the Spirit in Joel 2 in the Old Testament, which later on in the New Testament, Jesus Christ said would be given to all the believers, and these signs would follow. So how do you fact check if the signs follow, yes or no? And then essentially in 1 Corinthians it speaks of the spiritual gifts, right? 1 Corinthians. And one of those gifts is the gift of prophecy that operates through the Holy Spirit. And remember, if Joel 2 says the Spirit is poured out to everyone, that means not just a prophet prophesizes, but anyone who receives the Holy Spirit can prophesy. And if you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 24 to 25, essentially the version I'm reading, it says, "But if unbeliever or an inquirer comes while everyone is prophesying, they are convinced of sin." Sin just means straying from your purpose. That's all. That's that God says.
I think that Skits is ending the live in 2 minutes, and you're just
I have to keep going. You're on your way.
I need to make this slight correction to Sir
Davos. Look, you're on Sir Davos.
Sir
Davos, you are on your way to becoming a very fine pastor, youth pastor, whatever you want to be.
Yeah,
I can tell you got the Holy Spirit with you for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, essentially,
Sir Davos, two things. Number one, that's not what sin means. Sin means it's okay to disobey a God. And also, second, no. Like, when you talk about all this stuff, like what that Bible provides evidence for, it doesn't provide evidence for anything because the Bible is not evidence.
It is, dude.
It's not. It's
not to mention that it's hard to determine what's actually true.
Hold on. If we're getting off here in a couple minutes, real quick, I just want to say, Skits, thank you for having me up. It was a
thank you,
pleasure.
Nico.
And Sir Davos, I like having these conversations. If you want, hit me up on DM and we can continue the chat. But everyone have a wonderful
Nico,
day.
you should go live. Nico?
Yeah.
I'm actually leaving to go to work, but I'm off tomorrow, and I'll probably do a live tomorrow.
Are you the atheist CPR?
I don't know what that is. So.
The name, I just don't know.
Oh, yeah, atheistic preacher. I'm right next to you.
How do I add you? I'm not like.
I added you, so when you exit the live, it'll tell you got a new follower. Just follow me back.
Okay. All right. I respect that. Thank you. I'll follow you back.
Thanks for being on here, Sir Davos. I enjoyed the conversation.
Bye,
Twice.
everyone. It was a pleasure.
Hey, see you later, Nico. Twice I gave you a follow. Dude. I enjoyed having you on here too, man.
Oh, bro. Oh yeah, that's the. It kind
Sorry,
of I wasn't able to put in my real thing though. I wanted to talk about the scope theory of evolution.
Oh yeah.
Oblivion. I was also going to get on the fact that what about the whole idea of passing information on and on and on and on? Sooner or later, something's about to get screwed up.
Yeah. Oblivion would have loved to talk to you about evolution. He's a big evolution person too.
Oh yeah, that's All right, peace out though.
But thanks, guys. Super Saiyan, sorry, I know you just came up here, but I have to get going.
Yeah, it's
but
fine.
I appreciate it. And Joel, earlier you said cereal about Cheerios and Shreddies. What the fuck is Shred? Is that a Canadian cereal?
You guys don't have Shreddies?
No, we don't got Shreddies. This is America.
There's no Shreddies in America.
We got Frosted Mini Wheats.
Oh my goodness, Frosted Mini Wheats.
Cheerios.
Yeah, it's like that except a little flatter, and they're really sharp. They cut your mouth and they suck.
We got those.
Ooh.
Yeah, but they're called Shreddies. I wonder if they're just called something different there in America.
They're called Mini Wheats.
Is it like a mango thing?
No, these are
cereal.
Shreddies. I think Mini Wheats are like more puffy, right? Like Shreddies are completely flat and square. They look like Mini Wheats, but they're like flat and brown, and then they're really sharp.
So it's like frosted. Whatever.
There's no frosting. That's the problem with them. They're very boring.
Cheerios and Shreddies. Is it like Chex?
Shreddies, I think, is a Post. I think Post is the cereal brand. Post. I can Google it.
Well, I gotta get going, guys. I'll see you guys.
All right.
Captain
Well, anyway,
Crunch,
look,
that's what it was.
Skits, I love you. And
Love you too, buddy.
you doing a joke with the typing? Is that real typing?
Oh, Darrell, I brought you up because I wanted to tell you thank you so much, Darrell, because I always see you watching. Darrell is like one of my long-time viewers. I really appreciate you watching, Darrell, all the time.
We love you,
Thank
Darrell.
so much. Yeah, Darrell is always watching. He's always up there with the top viewers, and I just appreciate you, man.
Darrell, you're a star.
He's a star.
All right, well, good to see you, Skits.
All right, see you later, Joel. Are you going live, Joel? Wait,
not
is Justin
tonight.
live right now?
Justin's live. I'm going to make some content for my
Guys,
channel.
let's go raid Justin. Everybody go Skits raid on Justin right now.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right, see you later, buddy.
Later.